doing today? All right. Let's see. We get a few people in. I got that up. And we're good to go. Rock and roll. Pull that in. Hey, Dre, what's going on? You at work, Captain? I'm guessing. Thanks for dropping in. Fighting a major headache today. What the hell happened to me there? But, you know, you have those days, right? You're on your way to work. You're an evening worker like I am. Or was. And probably will be again. Get some people in here. We'll get our chat on. Suppose I should actually make my link up, right? Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I noticed. I know Tom was up earlier, OG, but I thought he was going to be up longer, I guess. So, you know, it happens. Man, that 20 has bounced back wonderfully, that tank. I'll tell you, really has. Well, I got my coffee brewing and I got my I need a distraction kind of day going, so I'll stream for a little while. So, I'm going to be streaming, I think, right through my move. I may even do it from my car. Like it's going to be weird moving, but at the same token, man, trying to find a place. F words. Let me tell you. And it's not the tank. It's literally like the office space that I need. I got a really large corner, L desk that I use, to spread everything out and whatnot. And it's just like Jay's, like where it was one room, it was perfect, except the bloody heater's an old style, hot water heater, for lack of a better term. And it sticks out, and it's like no matter where you go elsewhere, there's just nowhere to put the desk. And I'm like, I can get a new desk or modify this desk, but I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So I can, but I'd have to get rid of a whole big section of my desk. So I'm like, no, we won't be doing that. So yeah, so how you guys doing today? Dre's on his way to work. What about you, OG? You just hanging, working? What you up to, buddy? No, I'm moving for June 1st. I'll be moving. Yeah. So I definitely will be taking donations because I got blindsided into a move. The landlord that owned the building sold it, and the new owners are renovating, and they're kicking everybody out. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. I got totally sideswiped by that, but yeah, that's life. I don't own it, so not much I can really say about it. And they're following the law. Bummer. I can see a positive in it. Like I said, I want to take my 120 and take that opportunity to kind of tear it down, redo all the rock work, and when I put it back up, be more the vision I was going for in the first place. So, nope. Even with the lease, they can do it and get you out in 3 months. So, has to do with the sale. But I'm on a month-to-month lease, so it's 30 days anyway. So, nuts to you, as the way they do it. Yeah. And that big fat female clown doesn't realize she's coming out of there and she'll be in another tank too. It is dirty the way it went down, but what can I do? You know, it's one of those. Well, here it is. I got to deal with it. So, you know, it's kind of like our tanks, right? It's just here it is. Deal with it. There's not much else you can really say. Hey, what's going on, Vic Gay? Haven't seen you around, girl. How you feeling? Oh, I can hear the coffee finishing up. Oh, I can't wait. I've been out running around looking at apartments all day. So we looked at one that's kind of perfect, but he doesn't want any fish tanks in it. Ta-da! So you know what's going on there. But the wife is, and the rooms were small. The bedrooms were just tiny, tiny. Looked like something you'd find in Britain. You know, just that skinny, skinny room. Just nope. But you know, you never know. So all right. Oh, we hopefully get a few more people. I'm sure Tim's lurking around. I'll hear from him. I'm sure. Might get Jeeves. Because as much as I know you guys like hearing my voice, I don't think everybody loves the sound of my voice. Yeah. Yep. I got to move. The new owner wants to renovate, so 30 days notice was given. We're out of here June 1st. So I think there's more going on than that, but I just don't want to get into it. It's also a libelous thing to get into. So, oh, I got sniffs going, man. My allergies are going off. Awesome. All right. So, how's your tank doing, Dre? I got to ask you, I think the other night there, but you said you lost. You lost something. Clown? One of the clowns died, I think. Well, we've gone to look at one, two, three, four places just today, and they all got their drop bags. So I got to have the three because I need an office and room for the kid, right? Because he's still with us for now, right? So there's one. It was perfect, except the fact it doesn't have a dining room. So because of that and the layout, it was just no, it was just awful. And it was on the third floor. Like the hell, nuts to that. I ain't walking up 3 flights of stairs, man. I don't care if I was perfectly healthy. I wouldn't want to go up 3 flights of stairs. Not what I'm looking to do, especially carrying tanks. You know, you can imagine. Oh, you lost a Chromis. That's what you lost. I'll get a few people in here, and I'll be able to run and grab a coffee. So I'm not going to leave you guys with a dead air kind of deal. So it's no big deal. Torch is looking out and happy today. Everything's looking pretty good today. And it is Lisa's birthday. That is right. Da-na-na-na-na-na. They say it's your birthday. Yeah, 120-gallon tanks, no joke. And the stand, since it's a custom stand, is actually extremely well built. So it's kind of a lot to deal with, right? So I'm going to grab a coffee. The hell with this. I'll be right back. A little bit of silence. Chat amongst yourselves. Topic, hot topic. Neither hot nor a topic. There we go. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Williams? Oh, got my coffee now. We're all good. There's Melanie. How you doing, Melanie? Working hard or hardly working? I imagine you're working hard since you work for FedEx. Hey, Tristan, what's going on, Captain? Don't have any audio from you, Captain. Oh, while we wait for Tristan to get in here, we'll leave her be.
Oh, what's going on, kids?
There we go. How's it going, brother?
I'm hanging in there. Just took delivery of my stand today. Looks like it came in pretty well. Pretty
Awesome.
well
Good to
packed.
hear.
Yeah, I haven't started unboxing it yet, but naturally they send one guy on a freight truck with a hand truck with a bum wheel that died halfway through the delivery. So it
Well, there
was,
you go.
it was interesting from the onset. He
Yep, I
looked
imagine it was.
He lifted it down to the ground, went to go put it on the hand truck. Hand truck's wheel pops off. I'm like, what the hell? I'm supposed to get this into the
Yeah,
garage, but it is what it is.
yeah, that happens.
We got it in
Often.
there though.
Mr. Williams asking 9 inch clam. I have never even seen. Well, I have. I've seen Durasas, but I've never seen a 9 inch clam otherwise. Yeah. And no, I do not have any, and have no intentions of having a clam. If you're seeing the thing folded up over on the far left of that tank, it's a donut coral. That's just extremely pissy and being what he is. So
Nine-inch
doing what he
clam is
does.
significant size though. I can tell you that much.
A 9 inch clam's a big clam. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be paying your weight in whatchamacallit, calcium every day
Oh
with
yeah,
that
big
guy.
time. That kind of growth too, right?
Yeah.
Hey Tim,
Uh-huh.
I knew he'd show up. Already got it kind of ready to go for you.
Yeah, people don't realize exactly how much calcification a clam will do. Like a clam, adding a clam alone to your tank will start your calcium just going
Plummeting.
nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people feel like if clams only need calcium, this is true for when they're larger. They deal with a lot of calcium, but clams also need a lot of phyto, and I see a lot of people buying small clams, say in the 3 inch or even 2.5 inch aquacultured clams, and they're sticking them in their tank, and they look great for about 2 or 3 days. And then after that, you start seeing them slowly dwindle away. Their mantles start, kind of pinching in,
Yep.
and everybody starts dipping and doing all of this stuff. And I'm
Yep.
telling you, well, what you need to do is get yourself a 2 liter bottle, cut off the bottom of it, stick it over that clam, and then pump that bottle full of some phytoplankton because that's actually what clams are gonna eat when they're that small.
Yeah, and it's like 3 times a week, I think. Three to
Oh
four
yeah,
times a week.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is a
And that's it's depending on
significant.
the concentration. Yeah. And you got
Mm.
to put holes in the sides. You got to get the flow. You can't overdo it. Oh, yeah. But it works. And if you're
Yeah,
willing to do it, it works great. But
absolutely. But I see so many people go out and spend $50 on a really beautiful Croatia with awesome, beautiful pattern, and it's gonna be a stunner for sure when it gets a little bit larger.
yep.
But then they kill it in a couple of days because they don't realize.
Same with the Maximas. They
Oh
do
yeah.
constant with the Tridactyl Maxima. People just, look, here's the thing. Everybody's got a goal. If that's what you want to keep it, right? But read up on it. Don't
Ah,
take the basics, right? Go for the extreme stuff and read up and understand what you're doing because you're going to kill it. You're going to kill a lot of them. And at $100 a crack on average, really, you
oh,
want to waste $300-$400 trying to get to the right way of doing it? I'd rather do it first time right.
oh yeah, and I learned this one of the hardest way because I actually bought three of these guys on a
Yeah,
really great sale at an LFS down in Georgia, in Marietta, Georgia, called Nemo Aquarium.
right.
And I bought three of these guys, and two of them were in better shape than the third, and but they all looked in great shape at the LFS. They were $40 a pop, which I thought was an
Oof, good
excellent
deal.
a
Yeah.
steal, right?
Yep.
So I picked up all three, brought them home, and then at first I thought that, oh, these guys are getting knocked over. And I'm like, oh man. So I overnighted myself some clam holders, popped them on there. But then I saw that these guys weren't attaching. They were, for me, I think they were trying to move. And when I realized where they were trying to move into more flow. They
Yes.
wanted more flow because that's where the food particles were coming around.
We're
And I
coming
had
around.
them in a back corner thinking, I'm gonna leave you guys here so you guys can get, attached to your little clam holder here and put them in there. And then after one of them bit the dust, I saw my cleanup crew eating them the next morning. I said, wow, that happened very quickly. I'm like, all right, well, that's why I got three. And then the second one bit the dust, and I said, what the heck? He bit the dust maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks later.
Yep.
Wasn't overnight. It was over the course of maybe 2 or 3 days. He started going downhill fast. So determined to save the third one, I followed a link somewhere on the interwebs about feeding clams, and I saw very plainly put on the internet, clams below a certain number of inches should be fed a healthy diet of phytoplankton and other microscopic food.
Yep.
And I said, well, why didn't anybody tell me this when I bought this clam?
Yeah. Why didn't they say anything? Yeah.
I mean, no fish that I know of comes with some feeding and care instructions, but a clam, on the other hand, I think that should come with some feed and care instructions from an LFS. And if you ask your LFS, you heard it here, but if you ask your LFS, what should I feed this clam? And if they don't say, oh, it just needs calcium and good light, they're doing it wrong.
Yep. They're going to go through them as fast as you would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But see, for them, they don't care. They're
No.
flipping clams like crazy.
Yeah, it's a business, right? The minute it's a business, you have to take some of that with a grain of salt, no pun intended. Like my guy said, he's not the fish police. He's not going to tell you what you can and cannot have. You should be doing that as the
Mhm.
consumer. You should be educating yourself. And sometimes that information is hard to get. Like clams, yeah, I remember actually seeing that about what you're saying with clams, and then seeing the reverse not long after.
Oh yeah.
That anything below, I think it's 5 inches,
Hmm.
you have to feed them. You have to put you. You're basically going to have a nutrient dense tank feeding these guys, so it's a lot more work than you think it is.
Yeah, but then I saw another post as well, and it was on a popular forum out there that says, "Oh, Dr. Max Pacific East aquaculture clams, they always do great. They always survive. It's when you're buying those clams from other people they die." Well, if you look at Dr. Max, he very rarely, I don't think he's ever sold a clam below the stage where calcium alone can help it or pretty much guarantee its survival by utilizing calcium.
He's
And
getting it past
even
that
then,
initial stage.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right. And even then, he's still telling you should be feeding your tank a healthy amount of phytoplankton and microscopic foods because these are filter feeders.
yep,
They're filter feeding your water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you think, throwing in Fido once a week is going to do it all, it's not going to do it.
and exactly right. It's the same thing with what was I dealing with the other day? Certain wrasses, right? How many people know that most wrasse sleep in the sand, bury themselves? We all do. But did you know, like, if you get a Melanoris wrasse, that at some point there better be 4 inches of sand for him to go to, and that means the whole tank because he's going to pick his spot, not you. I know in a bare bottom, a guy basically released the fish in a net over top of a bucket of sand that he put in the corner, and he got that to work. I don't know how he got it to work, but he got it to work. But it always became an issue for him to clean that sand because guess who sleeps all day? That wrasse. He only comes out at night, right? So, but do
Oh
they
yeah.
teach? They don't tell you that. They
No,
just tell
nope.
you they'll do fine, right? Yeah.
No, and some people don't also realize that depending on where wrasses were even collected,
Yep.
you may not ever see that wrasse because unless it adjusts to your feeding and life cycles, there's a lot of wrasses that are almost entirely nocturnal. Okay,
Yep.
so when you get in certain wrasses, you need to train them by catching them before these guys go to sleep in the morning when the lights come on. You need to feed your tank super early, so that this wrasse realizes, oh wait, food comes now when it's bright and food goes away when it's dark. You have to train this wrasse to
Yep.
come out and eat when it's bright, or else you're going to be feeding your tank. Your wrasse is going to bury himself and waste away and die because he can't find food.
You can't find food, or you're going to be overfeeding your tank trying to keep them fed at night.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're basically training them to become diurnal versus nocturnal,
Hmm.
right? So, ooh,
Hmm.
schoolwork.
Oh yeah. And some things that people say, okay, I ask folks all the time, do you feed your acans or do you feed your corals? And said, yeah. When I feed my fish food, um, you know, little bits and pieces drop onto my acans and other stuff like that. I'm like, cool, cool. I said, how many times do you feed your tank when it's dark? And you're looking at me like, what? What do you
Yeah,
mean when it's dark?
exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, so I mean, you ever looked at your tank with a flashlight or something when it's dark, maybe like 2 hours after lights out? You realize
Hmm.
everything's turned itself inside out with a bajillion tentacles everywhere. It looks like an alien just turned itself inside out and just gushing everywhere. I said, that's ideally when you should feed.
Ideally, you should do it right when the lights go out. Yeah, like
Yeah.
or an hour or two after if you can do it. And I do. I usually put a lot of the broadcast feeding
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point, and I'll put
I
it
turn
in a
off my
part.
pump.
Yeah, and turn off your main return and let it feed, and then time it so it turns back on. And everyone's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Oh, see, there's where an apex comes in handy, right? That's where they
Exactly.
come in handy because you can set it, forget it, and know that at whatever time you're going to go do this, right? Oh, Tim's on the road again.
See, those
How you do?
apexes are handy, Craig. I
They
told you.
are. Oh yeah, but you can do it with a timer too for $9. So same
Oh, yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see, your fish right. You're not gonna see your critters or whatever right away
Nope.
fluff up.
Nope.
But I mean, I guarantee you get a good feeding in with your pumps turned off after lights out. You feed everybody good when they're all turned in and out. They turn themselves back out and they're all fluffy and plump. And then you go through your turn back on your pumps and everything like that. The other food got washed away, and the next morning you come out there, you're gonna start seeing your corals very, very plump, looking very colorful, and all of a sudden super duper healthy. You're gonna like,
Yep.
wow, just a feeding did that. And I'm like, yeah, do it when the lights are on.
Yep.
Now, I mean, some people have figured out ways to trigger that feeding response by using chemicals or even doing it with lights on. And they do that by turning off their pumps, like if they were going to feed at night, possibly dim their lights just a little bit,
Yep.
and corals will start, opening up, thinking that okay, food is coming right now. But I don't encourage this very much for two reasons. Namely, if you have a good cleanup crew and all your fish are awake, trying to feed a acan or a scully or something like that, it's going to be pretty hard for you. You might actually lose fish because you're feeding at this time, because fish will tend to dart into these various different things that can sting and hurt and grab and bite
Yep.
and try to steal food, and end up getting hurt, getting stung and stuff like that because they are, they're trying to get this food. The same thing goes for things that can't move or react as fast, like acans and scolies. I've seen acans and scolies get their mouth ripped open by all kinds of different crabs, anything from red leg to blue crabs to
Yep.
mithrax crabs. Sorry, the little green ones, emerald crabs will go
Emerald
just
crabs. Yep.
pop open their mouth, dig their hand in, and start eating out of their mouth, but
Yep.
they do damage to it. So that's why I always recommend people to feed at night, 2 hours, or an hour, 2 hour after lights out when your stuff is open. And if you choose to broadcast feed, that's a great time. If you choose to target feed, that's also a great time. But if you're limited to doing it, when your lights are on, for whatever reason, timing or whatever, then feed your tank first to where the fish start ignoring food a little bit, and then go after your corals. Don't start with them first.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're likely to have things get really irritated or hurt.
And that's just it. There you go. Like, if I were to teach anybody anything about it, it comes back to the watch your tank. Go at night to your tank, buy a red flashlight, hunter's flashlight, map reading light, and use that because that doesn't disturb the fish as much and lets you see all this stuff going on. Like the minute I hear somebody say they don't have bristleworms, go get a red flashlight. You sure do. Right? You know what I mean? You're gonna be able to find pests that you couldn't find during the day because that's when they're going to come out and start annoying the coral. You know what I mean? Things like that, and you will see the movement easier. Red light doesn't disturb what's going on. So, that definitely is. I always tell people to check your evolutions at night. Check what's going on in your tank at night because you can find a lot of stuff going on. Oh, dropping diamonds. Oh yeah, he does every time. That's why I don't mind Tristan coming in here. What's going on, Tim?
Hey, got some good news. You guys were talking about wrasses there a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Got some good news from my not so local LFS, the one in Albuquerque.
Right.
About the fish I ordered. The gal calls me up today, and I thought for sure she was going to say, those fish you wanted, we're not going to be able to. But she says, I have all 3 of the fish that you ordered. And I said, well, thank you so much. I will be there on Saturday. So 2 of them are wrasses. I'm getting orangeback, fairy wrasse, tricolor, redhead, Solon fairy wrasse, whichever you would choose to call it. I'm getting that, and then I'm also picking up a flame angel to keep the wife happy. So, and I'm going to pray that it doesn't like corals.
Yeah, good luck with that.
So, actually, I've had them before, and I never had with mine before. I never.
A well-fed tank is where that comes in handy. Yeah, that's exactly it. If you are a miserly feeder like me, that's a bad idea. That's all.
No, I'm pretty good at feeding. I usually drop in pellets once a day. Not a large amount of pellets, but a little bit of pellets. And usually some of those, like I told you before, I like to use the Seaweed Extreme pellets a lot. And then in the evening when I get home, I usually give them the LRS, the Reef Frenzy. So, but so not not too much, not too little, I think. So I don't. So hopefully we'll. But anyway, so that'll actually give me 4 wrasses in the tank now.
Well, hopefully you don't get any warfare. You should. The ones that you're talking about usually get along fairly well. So.
Yeah. I'm not doing the CJ. There's no green wrasses, or some of his wrasses were. I mean, he had a whole bunch in there, but a couple of them were like, damn, they.
Chorus wrasse, Melanoris, and a couple other tend to be a little more territorial. It really depends on
the yellow. I have the yellow, and he doesn't seem to bother. I have the yellow right now, and I have the Holben's. Sometimes these wrasses get 5 or 6 names, Holben's wrasse or whatever, and so they get along real well. So I'm gonna put these all in at the same time. So I'm thinking, hopefully I won't have any problems. I don't expect any problems out of the orangeback. I've had an orangeback before too, and I really like them. They're really usually pretty cool fish. And then the only one that might, I don't know. I don't know how this Holben's or wrasse and sometimes the redhead or the tricolor or whatever they say can give you problems, but we'll see.
Well, Solon's fairy wrasse is a bigger wrasse, right? So you got a big tank. You got that 100-gallon tank. You should be okay, I would think. I'm not going to say, yes, you're going to be fine, Tim, because then you tell me next week, well, they all ripped each other apart. Well, sorry to hear that.
No, it's not going to. That's not going to happen. That's not. It's like I'm not giving anybody that much of a chance. If that battle start and they don't stop right away, somebody's out. So.
Nope.
and if the wrasses, let's see. I don't know if the orangeback doesn't go in the sand, but he will go in the rock if I remember right.
You'll find a spot to hide. Yeah. That's what my wrasse is all pissed about, is that the male clownfish is hiding inside that little gully, that little cave, and he's got himself dug in there like a tick because of the female. So, it's, it's got him upset at her, right? Because he knows what's going on there, is that she's got him hidden in there. So, he can't go and hide in there, but he's got other places to hide. He'll get over it. How you doing, Tomer? How you doing, Cruz? How you doing, Tom? Geez, everybody's showing up. How you guys all doing?
Good.
I tried to get in on my saltwater journeys stream this morning, but I couldn't get in. So.
And we sent you a
It
link.
didn't work.
Yeah,
I didn't. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So I mean, I checked. And oh, by the way, since we're on this subject, or since I'm on this subject, whatever. Hey, here's the key. I got to give you the other email, Craig, and because what I noticed was, like today, I happen to be at the house, so on the phone, I don't get the email. But when I go look on my email on the
computer,
boom, there it is right away. So it's and so then what I do then is I just send it over to it's the email, the Outlook, that one live.com. I'm gonna have to give the next time I'll give you my other email address because that comes through just boom right away. You know.
Yep.
I don't know
Okay.
what that is, but
That's good.
well, we'll try that because I'm like when I look back in the past, like some emails, I'm going. Well, there it is. Hell, I waited like an hour to get it, and it was already there on the. If I would check the computer,
That's the way the phone's
you know?
waking up. Huh. There you go.
I don't know what that is.
Are you running an iPhone?
Anyway, I'm running an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems people with iPhones.
I can get both of those emails though on this phone. So next time I'll just give you the other one, and we'll
That's
go
fine.
from there. So
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good.
I don't seem to connect good to. I don't connect good to Sweden or Canada. I'm some kind of Canada-Sweden racist or something.
It is. Yeah. We're on to you.
We are put out. We got you marked.
Oh crap! No.
We're selling
it's
racist,
fine.
please.
Yeah. We know. Yeah, we're on to you. It's. I'll tell you.
It's the
Yeah.
phone. It's a damn Chinese phone. That's what it is.
That's because you use iPhone. Don't work on anything.
Yeah.
Don't use iPhone. Use a proper phone.
Well, iPhones are good phones too. I have no real. I think my preference is Android because of a lot of the apps I use. Right, it's just easier. So.
Yeah.
It
is.
I'm too stupid. The iPhone makes it too easy for me. I don't want to switch.
I think iPhone makes it harder for you.
Really? No. My wife has a Samsung, and she asked me how to do things on that thing, and I go, I don't know. This thing is it's probably just what you get used to, you know, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And my wife is Korean, so she likes the Samsung stuff.
I don't even like Samsung anymore.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story too.
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
It's a whole different program.
Hi, Annika.
No drama.
Yeah, don't. There will be blood.
Drama-free.
Baby blood.
We only like drama in short increments, and then get on with it.
Yeah, and then get on with it. Yeah.
I had all my drama
Get
for
back
today,
to
so
the
I'm
fish.
good.
Then get back to the fish or corals, you know.
Yeah, I'm over drama now.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. And without digging into it, it's more. We're here to talk about that and to have a laugh.
Oh yeah.
Anything else is kind of, listen, I left high school, man, and I'm done. Like
Absolutely.
I don't even watch, stuff that's kind of like that. Like I don't care what Tom Cruise is doing. I don't care about any of that stuff. I never have, right?
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Yeah.
The National Enquirer is just based off that same premise, right? So, yeah. So
I just want to know what the hell you're doing with your reef tank wherever you are.
Yep.
And if I can help you, I'll help you. If I can, I'll ask you, and you help me, and so on and so forth. And then every once in a while, we'll talk some. We might get a little sidetracked, but that's okay.
We always get sidetracked.
Always because we're human. There's no way we're not going to get sidetracked.
It takes us 2 seconds to get sidetracked.
Yeah.
My wife
Like
goes, "What are
Annika
you
talking about not wanting to get her boobs wet in her new tank. And I'm only doing that because I know she just got in. She actually measured her tank so that she could reach in properly without getting soaked. And I'm like, well, that's a good idea.
Wet
I ain't
t-shirt.
saying nothing.
It was an awkward conversation to have because it was like I knew why I had it a certain height, but I didn't want to say it, and I was like, whatever. Like I need it underneath my chest. Not that my chest is enormous, but I know if it comes to here, it's gonna like restrict me from being able to.
We will always figure it out.
No, it's me balancing
Okay.
it out, Annika. It's not
Yeah,
that you're out.
it's connecting to my microphone on here now, though, so
That's
that
Mhm.
yeah, it's really loud.
Okay.
Definitely loud.
We're reefers. We understand.
T-shirt.
It's okay.
The worst part, Craig, is if I'm in my car. So when I get in my car, it transfers the Bluetooth to my car, and my old car, the Bluetooth module was across the car, so you'd have to yell for people to hear you, and now it's like in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm yelling, thinking and then
Yelling at
later
the car.
I'm like,
No.
wait a minute, I'm like yelling this, the airbag in my.
You know, it's funny. Remember that day you were in the car and I said, "Are you upset?" And you're like, "No." And it's like, then stop yelling.
Yeah, because I used to, if I just talk normally while I'm driving. Plus you have
Exactly.
wind, so you increase your volume because you're trying to talk over the wind that nobody else can hear.
Yep. And I was talking about. I had to teach my son about that. They call it mic control when you're on stage. That's why you see like Celine Dion pull the mic away, because it's going to be so loud as to be obtrusive to the mic, and people don't get that, right? So they're used to talking on the phone in their car. So when they talk, and it's like, you got to stop that. Yeah, we hear you just fine, right? We've come a long way from the days that literally you weren't heard. So
Yeah.
you know what I
That
mean?
was the old days.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
that would
Tris.
be another Canadian, wouldn't it?
Which one's that?
Hello. Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. She's from
She
Quebec.
was the consolation prize, what's the word? Preemptive consolation prize for Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Oh God.
I like Celine Dion a lot. Like, I like her voice. I think she's awesome.
I even like that she's got a sense of humor. A lot of people think she doesn't. She has great sense of humor.
Yeah, it's just I think it doesn't always like different languages.
It's the French thing with her. The one when she showed it was the one that used to come on Saturday Night Live and do her, "I am Celine Dion. I am the greatest singer in the world," right? And then she had her on stage with her, and it was pretty funny actually. So she was trying to show like, no, I get it. This is funny. This is how some people see me, right?
Well, it's like the I don't know if you remember Britney Spears. I'm not like the biggest fan of hers, but she did SNL. And they were playing on the joke that I don't know if she had gotten pregnant or what, but for some reason she developed very quickly. And I don't think she was pregnant yet. She was like early 20s. And so we watched her grow up. She was age 13 and then, she got older. Yeah. Well, she grew up and the rumor all around was that she got implants. Yeah. And so she's standing there and she's wearing like an inflatable bra. And she's talking about how everybody keeps talking about my breasts and how they think I have implants. And as she's speaking, they're getting larger and larger.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because you just see them explode. She's like, everyone keeps talking about how my breasts are getting larger. And it was like front page magazines all over, everywhere she'd go. People were talking about her boobs. And I just thought it was funny that she was poking fun at the fact that
Oh, exactly.
She hit puberty on camera and, everybody... Yeah, and I think she gained a little weight, and she tends to gain it there because she went from being kind of thin to filling out, and so her bra size jumped up, and it was a really funny one that I remember because she was willing to take the piss out of herself.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same thing with all of them. They're like that, whatever weight problems and so forth. So.
Well, I want to know what lotion Shakira is using. To be honest with you.
What do you mean lotion?
She's 41 years old, and doesn't look like she's aged a single day. Like she could legit go back to high school, and a lot
of celebrities, they like the ones that want to keep their aging. They drink lots of water and they avoid alcohol. Like Jenny Lopez, I know, was talking about how when she would go on tour, she wouldn't drink at all because she's getting photos everywhere and the alcohol would dry out her skin. But a lot of it is just nutrition and genetics.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for really good skincare and moisturizing. Probably something like La Mer, or she probably gets access to the high end.
Well, that puts me
Yeah,
out because I
that
might
may
get
be,
a beer.
that's probably what happened to Keith Richards.
Well,
Right?
yeah, that's why he looks like a
Keith
clam.
Richards has lots of drugs. God, Keith Richards is made of sandpaper,
Yeah.
like saggy sandpaper.
He looks like the
Oh,
troll from Labyrinth.
I was too late for the boob
You
conversation.
were too late for the boobs, buddy. You missed it.
You missed the
That's
boob.
okay.
Oh, and he drops out. I'm done. Nope, no boobs. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, Craig's controlling the stream too well today. The boob conversation was far too short. Sorry about that, Mike. Yeah.
You have to be on top to get with the boobs.
Welcome to Live with Reefer Madness, where guess what? We're going to talk about fish tanks and boobs. That's what we're going to do,
But
right?
10 minutes ago we were talking about wrasses, so what the hell, you know?
Well, it's all
crap.
about feeding, right?
Well,
it's
it
all
was
about
about
feeding.
the fish tank, and it was about women being able to reach
Oh,
into
yeah. That's
2 or
how we
3
got
feet
here. Okay.
across their tank without.
Well, Annika, we talked about this. If I got my 4'9" wife to go over top of the tank and reach in, and I put the camera underneath in the water, my viewership would go up tenfold. Remember? We were talking about that because I could always say, no, we were just filming feeding the fish. It had nothing to do with the wet T-shirt contest.
Speaking of which, there's a video that's gone viral. An oil and gas company put it out, and the girl that's wearing it is quite obviously been
A model?
no. She's like
Upgraded?
average size, but I think she's been enhanced quite a bit.
For lack
And
of a
she's
better
wearing
word.
a super skin tight T-shirt, like suit, like is stretched, like you can almost see through the lycra. And a friend of mine posted it in a private group saying nobody is watching this with the volume on because she's talking about some oil and gas technology, and
Okay.
I didn't hear because I was on my phone out in public when I saw it. But it's like a real video. She's talking, she's got like a green screen behind her with. It's something about like some new kind of oil and gas technology. And she's talking and all you can see is this stretched spandex on her chest. I'll get a link to the video if you want.
Sure.
The video that got posted,
There are enough males on this channel, though. Go watch.
the company that posted it was like legitimately like, hey, this is our new technology. And they're like,
Yeah.
come on. You know what you're doing.
Chevron had one in the
Like
80s,
watching,
and you can't get the commercial anymore,
Yeah.
right? But it was a girl, right, who was basically wearing like a Hooters-style outfit with Chevron
Oh.
on it. And what's really funny about it is that they were talking about their new jerry cans they were selling at their gas stations. Chevron, we've got great cans. I'm not kidding. And I'm like, no, this has to be
That's
fake,
funny.
right? And
Well,
looked
it's
it up,
like,
and it
it's
was
like,
a failed, Go ahead, Tim.
It's like if you ever watched the South American or Mexican weather broadcast, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody watches the weather.
Well, Aussie Man
Okay.
Reviews
Come
talking
on.
about the Mexican, yeah, there's a warm weather front coming through. Oh,
What
Yeah.
are you doing,
Dude,
honey? I'm
dude,
watching the
this
weather.
chick-
Don't bother
I'm a-
me. I'm watching the weather.
I'm gonna post the link in here, Craig.
yeah.
You can
Go ahead.
post it in the main. I think actually, hold on, it's posting it from the group, and nobody will be able to see it.
You're
from the
able to
group.
actually post it in the chat, though.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can post it in the chat.
Let me.
But anyway, moving on.
I'll show you, but like she's so voluptuous that they go out to the side like a
Oh,
comic
sure.
book character.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, stop talking
We've all
about
seen
it.
it. Let's stop
Okay,
talking.
hold on.
All the
Picture it
technology-
didn't happen.
Oh
Stop
my!
teasing us.
I'm watching soft porn on Reefer Madness. That's what I'm
It's
doing.
not porn. It's
No, I'm
EPCM
just kidding.
PSI. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
not porn at all. Like she's
Porn.
completely covered.
Yeah, we don't
No.
care. We
No.
got
Yep.
imagination.
Okay.
You guys are like,
We don't have drama. We have porn.
The baser instincts have dropped in. You guys are horrible. Come on now.
Let's talk about fish.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
fish.
know.
Fish. Okay, so while the link comes up, I was having an argument with somebody the other day regarding my fish, and he noticed that every time I went up to my fish tank, I gave them food, and he said your parameters must be crap. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
well, why do you say that? He goes, I only feed like twice a day. Sometimes I'll skip a day. I'm like, so how your fish doing? He goes, they're fine. I'm
What type of men are you where a woman is trying to show you another voluptuous woman and you're shutting it down?
No,
Oh
I'm
my
waiting for the
God.
link.
Oh
I'm
my
waiting for the
God.
link.
I'm
Hold
sat
on,
there,
You're waiting
I'm
for the
sat there
link.
getting-
listening, and
Quiet.
you're all like, nope.
Hold
Like,
on,
I'm pulling
Justin.
up.
oh,
You know what that is, Michael?
I feel depressed to be a man right now.
You remember this, Michael, right? I'm Howard Stern of Fish Reef Tank Radio.
I don't know who Howard Stern is.
You don't know who Howard Stern is.
Really?
You are
No.
so lying, you bellend.
I don't know who Howard Stern is.
You can look him up. That's fine, but
Okay.
he's a big talk radio guy here in the States. Huge shock jock. Huge.
All right. Well, I'm from the UK, so I definitely don't know who he is.
And, but it's kind of funny that what I did is I was cutting it off because I knew you'd be jumping back in.
Well,
Now you jump
all
out
of you were cutting it off. All of you. It was only Annika that was going for it. Annika, high five.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Right, I'm going back to listening.
But you know,
You're waiting for the
we're living
link,
in a
Michael.
two-political
Yeah,
world.
we're still
Yes,
waiting
I
for the
got
link.
it. I got it. I
There
got
you
it.
go.
I
There
had
you
to
go,
go
guys.
find the
Now you can be quiet,
YouTube.
Michael. You have to watch this.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for science, you guys learn about this new oil
Mike,
and
I gotta
gas
go watch this.
technology.
For science.
It's this new oil and gas technology. It's amazing.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Oil and gas.
She's like, "Hey boys, let's turn around." That's what she sounds like.
The lubrication of this technology. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's do something else.
Look at all the guys have gone quiet too. You know, suck.
Be quiet.
You're all yourselves. I'll be right
Well, we don't want to.
You guys see the video? It's not. It's not porn. It's like it's like they actually. Somebody posted it. I have this little private group of just me and some friends, and somebody posted it and thought it was funny.
Annika, I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. I have literally
Yeah,
not
you don't
looked
even
at
need
the
to put on the
text
audio. You're just like, wow, turn around.
Yeah, there's no audio.
Wow.
I have not looked at the text.
Outages? No way. Wow, I really care. Let me watch the video again.
What are you talking about, Annika?
It's talking
It's not
about
that
oil
tight.
refinery.
It's not that tight. It's not that tight.
Her shirt?
She can still breathe.
You Swedes. You Swedes and your spandex.
Oh God.
Interesting.
Very interesting about oil. Yeah.
I have no idea what the hell she's
Actually,
talking about.
Drees, salty aquatic skincare equals good nutrition, no alcohol, good genetics, and cocoa butter. Cocoa butter doesn't work for everybody. It actually clogs your pores. It's comedogenic. So it's actually short term, it'll make your skin look plump, and long term, it's not good for your skin.
Mm-hmm. Like we're listening.
You need something that's going to absorb. Like you could even use like almond oil, or you want something that's non-comedogenic, which means it doesn't clog the pores, or else you're going to notice you get sebum. And as you get older, it's actually going to make your skin look worse. It's because it put a coating on so your skin doesn't breathe as well.
There you go.
But it's not bad. Like it's good for your feet. You just don't want it on. Like cocoa butter would be good for your arms and your legs and your body, just not your face. So
Cool. So did everybody watch it? Are y'all thrilled and titillated?
So let's move on. We'll watch it.
Excellent.
okay, so you guys know all about the oil refinery like shutdown, turnaround.
What are you talking about?
Still no idea what she's talking
Yeah.
about.
Now,
You know what we're talking about. Be quiet.
Anyway,
That
it was
yeah,
a funny.
There's
It was
that
a
time.
It was a
Go ahead.
funny, quick story to share. I thought it was
it's
funny,
fine.
and it had to do with boobs. You were talking about getting your wife to do your videos for you.
Exactly. No. It's definitely funny, and
It was relevant.
it was relevant to the conversation at hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tristan, you were talking about feeding your. I'm going to see. Look, I'm good, slick, eh? We're going to move
Yeah.
back
Okay.
over.
And with that segue, objects for feeding your tank.
Yeah.
So this guy was, we're getting into this pretty heated argument about, why I shouldn't feed my fish X number per day. And I'm like, let me ask you a question, but like in the wild, do you think your fish like eats at 3:00 every afternoon?
Of course they do.
On Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Like, do they have like a set dinner schedule or something like that? Because as far as I know, a fish is gonna eat till it's not hungry, and when its metabolism burns up the food, it's gonna go and eat again, right? It's all
Yep.
about, surviving. So the fact that I'm feeding my fish often throughout the day, to me, I think I'm keeping my fish very healthy. Now, I'm not tossing in a fistful of food. I'm tossing in a small enough amount of food that it's all gone within a couple of seconds. but my fish are all getting an opportunity to go and eat and,
Yep.
and munch on something. And for me, I don't think my parameters suffer at all. But the first time you hear somebody say, "Oh, my nutrients are out of whack," they say, "Oh, well, how much are you feeding your tank? You should cut back your feeding." And then that same person will come back to you like a couple of days later and says, "Well, I cut back my feeding to once a day, every other day, but now my fish all have ick, or they're breathing heavily, or they're sick, or they look very thin, you know, or my tank's tummy is caved in." And I'm like, yeah, because you have them on a 2 cracker a day and water diet. Like what the hell are you doing? Like feed your fish. If your parameters are out of whack, look at your filtration and make sure that that's in check. Look at your bacteria, make sure that that's in check. I wouldn't stop the fish from eating. Starving your fish, I don't think is a good way of controlling your nutrients. It's a good way of killing your fish off so you have less of them, and
Or
as a
causing
result,
a
you have
lot
less
of aggression
nutrients.
in your tank.
Exactly.
The food aggression's there, right? Like I
Exactly.
try to keep it to a minimum, but a minimum for me is I feed twice a day. Every other day is meat for one of the feedings, so on and so forth. Because like I got a Bengay cardinal in this tank, he won't eat anything but meat.
I do.
He won't. Yeah, go ahead.
Mistake.
I'm now to a point, so I was feeding my fish every 3 days, but that's because I have a 24-gallon, high nutrient, and feeding was affecting my tank. I was getting, I was noticing, and my fish were doing fine when I fed them every 3 days, but I have clowns and blennies. So now what I do is, now that I'm feeding my sun coral at the same time every day because I'm trying to train him, I have eggs and phyto. So because I'm feeding, I have to put the sun coral in his own little cup, separate him, and like get the polyps to open. So because I'm doing that, I have a huge cup of eggs. So now my fish get whatever every day. My fish get whatever I fed the sun coral, and then I bubble later that night.
Oh, you're talking about oyster eggs.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, these haven't come out yet. I got them from Rod's Food, gave them to me to try out. They're going to be releasing them in the next few months, probably. It's a new, smaller type of egg, but they're high in nutrients. So I thawed them, and I'm pivoting them. And then the other thing I do, so I do that, and then I suck up as much of the eggs as I can, and I feed my corals. So once my sun coral is done with his, like once he's learned to open correctly, I'm going to go back to every 2 to 3 days, maybe. But I also get fish that only need to eat once every few days because there's so much other stuff in the tank for them to eat.
Yeah,
they find stuff everywhere.
Exactly, because you look at my wrasse, he's out looking for food right now. I could feed that tank 3-4 times a day. He'd be eating every time, right? So I got to keep him where he's healthy enough that I notice he's not sunken in, he's not stressed out, and that's what I feed at, right? So this tank here, I mean, I already know what I'm going to be doing with this tank. I'm absolutely positive there's not going to be any SPS in this tank for a while till it matures, because it just won't be able to handle it because I feed it so little. And that's, again, comes down to, like, Tristan, you're absolutely right. I love that when people jump on people for that. The forums are a vast wasteland of assholes. If you need to find an asshole, head to a forum. You'll find an asshole.
And it's always, I've been doing this for blah, blah, blah years.
Just go to Facebook.
Hey, what's up, TMGs? And what are you doing, bud? How you feeling today?
What are you doing, Stick?
There we go. I'll let him in. You want to get in? Oh, it's not working.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Another one of those.
Yeah, another one of those.
It's a weird. Yeah, I had you here anyway. There we go. Copy.
My computer doesn't save people's emails. I don't know why.
I got a big list of them. Yeah. No, I got a list of them. I actually found it because I couldn't find it. I had copied it into videos, not copied it onto my other drive. So I'm like, I got to remember to do that. All right. So, nope. There you go. If you guys want a goal today, if anybody wants to donate, I need to buy another $100 power supply for my other computer so I can actually do this right. I blew up my power supply last night on my main rig. Yeah, it popped. I know. I smelt it. I knew right away that I popped a capacitor. That's what I get for buying a cheap one. That's I'm stupid. I shouldn't have done that. What's going on, TMG?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, it's going, man. It's going. It's
I hear that.
It'll look better in a few days. Like I said, I had a power supply fail out on my main rig. So
ouch.
this last night, right during dev stream, down it went. I heard it. I actually heard the capacitor pop.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I shut it down and I checked. I mean, I can only check so far, but I'm a pretty good computer technician. So my nose was, I was smelling all my RAMs and parts and making sure nothing smelled burnt. So I didn't burn the board, I hope. So,
Yeah.
although you'll hear the tears, you will hear the tears if it did, because it's just, that's a really good motherboard in there. So, and if I
Yeah.
lost the chip, that's, it's what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever seen a capacitor fly off of a motherboard like a gunshot? I mean, I was a tech for many years, and one of the most interesting things that used to happen, and it used to happen pretty often, I would say maybe once or even twice a week, because we were building systems so quickly. But when we started up a new computer, we always yelled out "fire in the hole," and
fire in the hole. Yeah.
nobody would go anywhere near the
Nope.
motherboard or in front of the open side of the case.
No.
Because sometimes you start up a computer the first time, it gets some juice, pop, that top goes flying off the motherboard like a bullet. Take out an eye and probably draw blood.
Gigabyte had a whole run of boards, the GM4s, that they were notorious for blowing capacitors. And everyone's like, well, what do you mean? I said, you had to do what's called power leak to the board. It was the first of the dual BIOS boards, if you guys are techie at all. So what you would have to do is plug it in, turn the power supply on, and leave it for a half a day, so that little leak of energy going to the board would slowly build up the capacitors, because there was a lot of them. You would turn it on, you just paid $300 for this motherboard, it popped, it would blow the capacitors on the North Bridge.
Wow.
And they were just, here's a new one. They knew they put out a bum board.
That's crazy.
A-bit, while it was around, I mean, I had two A-bit dual CPU motherboards go on me, because at one point when the Pentium 4s came out, I had an A-bit dual CPU motherboard, and I had two Pentium 4s on it, and I blew up like 3 boards, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with
What's
this
going
company?
on? Yep.
And it wasn't until Card OCP did a review where they also blew up 2 boards on the 8-bit motherboard and said, okay, we found what the problem was. You got to plug it in and leave it for a little while, guys, so that all of these capacitors get some type of a trickle charge before you turn it on, because the sudden onset will cause them to blow. And I'm like,
you got it.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. That's the term, trickle charge. I'm thinking
trickle charge.
And I don't think about it because that's a car thing to me, right? Trickle charging.
Yeah, but to this day, when I plug in a new motherboard and I turn on a power supply, I don't go and hit that power switch right away.
Nope.
I leave it for a while, and then I hit the power switch.
Like, I'm more happy. And TMG, I muted you just because you're unpacking or whatever you're doing there in the shop. So just remember that. It's not because I don't want to hear you. It's just that it's a little loud in the whole thing. So it's more, how to put it, I'm upset it blew because it was only 6 months old, but it was cheap. So it's one of those, it was a Jupiter 800 watts, only like $58. I can go get one like literally tomorrow again. And I'm going, do I really want to do that and go through and burn? Because when you run Streamlabs OBS, okay, on this computer, I tried to run it last night and it all went horribly, horribly wrong, because I went from 20% CPU usage on a dual core to 97%, and I was dropping 99% of my frames, instantaneously locking me up. So I can't run it on here because it's too old technology, right? So the other one is an i7 Skylake 4790 chip. It got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a high-end video card in it. It can handle it, no problem. In fact, without dropping it, I think I dropped 2% of my frames on one stream that I had everybody in here, and I was running cameras everywhere when I was doing it. So, it was great, but it was the power soak from the board at that point, I think, started to really stress that power supply, and where it's a cheap one, it couldn't step up correctly. So it blew out the capacitor on. So whatever, I can geek out any day for you guys, but I generally don't. Hey, Blinky, Lisa, how are you? Yeah. So
anyway, when I went to Micro Center to when I was building my latest system, because I went there with the sole intention of buying a 5960X, because I wanted the threads. And the guy was like, well, you don't really need to get that. You can get like a 5930. It's still 12 cores. I'm like, no. I want 16. They're like, what are you gonna do with it? And I'm like, really? Do you really want me to tell you what I'm gonna do with it? Well, right now I'm encoding 2 videos. I'm running a server. I'm having a fluid simulation going on right now in AutoCAD,
Yep.
and Katia is right now running a thermal fluid simulation for my brother. So there you go. That's what I use my course for.
There
Oh,
you
I'm
go.
also chatting on YouTube.
Yep.
So, like some people actually use the power of these things. I wouldn't automatically try to. But then again, I also seen other people come in and say, "Hey, I want like this super stupid fast computer." I'm like, really? Do you think you're gonna be better off with that because it's super stupid fast, or is that what you're gonna really use it for? You can even use 5% of that power.
I get angrier when I go into like Best Buy, because we used to have Future Shop, now it's owned by Best Buy, and they're trying to sell this little lady the fastest thing they have on the floor for her to do email and talk on Skype. And it's like, you don't need that. For what you're talking about doing, this little $200 job will work just fine. You know what I mean? You don't need anything else. And they look at me, why aren't you working here? Because they can't pay me enough to work here. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Geek Squad is $125 an hour to get Geek Squad to come in and do what I did for my uncle, okay, which is break in on a computer that you forgot the password, okay? We won't even get into that, but it can be done. It's easy enough to do.
Oh yeah. In fact, they feed Geek Squad. They found out has been feeding information to the CIA.
Sure
I don't know
has.
if you know. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, exactly.
Anybody
And
ever used Geek Squad?
but what's
I hope
worse
you're also
is
not.
they're only paying the geek that's doing the job $15 an hour out of that $125 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, that's not right, because the guy doing the
What's it
work is
called?
the guy sitting there. Yeah. What, the program?
Tristan, why are you running a fluid simulation through SolidWorks?
Oh, it's for my brother. He wanted me to run it there. He's a mechanical engineer. He works for Kubota, and he's doing something for his professor. But his system isn't powerful enough to run it. So I'm not using that computer. That computer's sitting in a closet running the simulation. So he's just
No, but what is
remote.
it? What is it simulating?
I can't remember. I don't know. I would have to ask him. He would know. But he's just remoted into the computer running the file. So he just drops it onto the server, pulls it off onto the computer, and runs it locally here. He's just looking for the results, not for the
So you're looking for fluid dynamics on a hydraulic piston design or something?
probably something crazy.
I'm
like
probably
that.
going to guess that's it, or the fluid, or the hosing, or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the only reason I know
So
anything
you lost
about
me
that,
about 10 minutes ago.
oh, that's all right, buddy. I told you we're going to geek out. I'm a geek. You know what I mean? It's like somebody's like, "What do you mean you're a geek?" It's like I do things on my computer you don't. Simple enough, right? And you don't need to do them on your computer. Why? Because porn doesn't require that much work. It really doesn't.
Oh yes, it does. Good porn.
It does. Yeah, good porn does. Yeah. No.
You haven't tried VR.
You haven't tried the VR. Yeah.
I tried it. I have it.
Yeah. Okay. That's that. Well, we're definitely not going there.
Yeah, let's
right.
go.
Not for
No,
laptop.
I'll tell you guys the
You
coolest
got
thing I've
there.
done recently in VR. The coolest thing I've done recently in VR is I've actually watched an NBA game on my PS4
Yes.
with the headset on, and OMFG, it feels like you're sitting on the floor. You can see the
It's
players.
crazy.
It's a live feed. You're watching, freaking Joel Embiid slam dunk on Olenek, and it's like, wow, did that just happen? Am I here for real?
Yeah.
That commercial is so accurate. I'm like, damn, this is awesome.
It
I
is.
just wish everybody else in the room could have seen it. I only have one headset.
Well, I would say, and was that watching a video game or was that watching an actual NBA game?
No, NBA game.
An actual NBA. Yeah, I heard it was really, really cool. They say with hockey, because I'm Canadian, of course, it's going to be hockey, right?
I like hockey.
But they were talking about it. Hockey is,
Of course.
it's the only sport where you're waiting for a fight to break out, and I'm sitting there going, no, you'll get one. You will get one. Because it's such a fast-paced game. Like NBA is too. Like, basketball was invented by us. Did you guys know that? Canadians invented basketball.
A minute. Wait
Yes,
a
sir.
minute.
I've never heard that.
Wait a minute.
No.
I heard
Look
it
it
was
up.
a peach basket they used.
So
Is it on
Mr. Naismith
Wikipedia?
was from Canada? Come on, man.
Are you gonna go?
The game was
edit the
invented
wiki
by.
article now. So
No, I don't have to link that. Go look it up yourselves, you lazy bastards. Yeah. Oh, and
No,
baseball.
you
You're
do it.
welcome.
Where did you get that information about
It's
basketball being invented?
it was
I've
invented,
never. If I go look it up, it's gonna not say Canada. That's
it was
what I know.
invented by a Canadian.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Naismith?
Yep.
No, hold on.
James Naismith,
Yeah,
Canadian American physical educator.
there you go.
Okay.
And you're welcome.
Oh.
Canadian American.
He was working in the
That's
U.S.
like-
at Harvard
That's
or
like if I
something.
did something saying it's an American. I'm like, I moved to America. So anybody
Was he an
can step
American?
foot on this magic dirt and be an American.
Was he an American citizen when he made the game?
He was living in the U.S. Yeah, he
Okay.
came up with the
No,
game
come on,
while he
Craig.
was in Canada, but you know,
Had he been sworn in?
sorry guys. Yeah.
Was he
What about
sworn
the-
in? He's American.
No, actually, I think he moved back to Canada. I don't know. The history is what it is. It's there for you to find. Yeah,
I'm just
baseball.
messing with you, Joe.
Great American pastime. Do. Game. Yeah.
So we
And
got
the first
Drake and
Major League
basketball.
Baseball game was between Canada and the U.S. Haha, check that out. All right. Origin.
Well, we come here to get our Canadian fact of the day.
You know what's really fun is I didn't know that baseball was actually a French game.
What?
Yeah. Started. There's a manuscript from 1344 which contains an illustration of clerics playing the game. La Soul has many similarities to baseball. Huh.
Well,
Check that out. Well, that's
Yeah.
all sports are like that. Hockey is probably, you could say it's, what's it called? Broomball. You guys ever heard of broomball?
no.
Right. It's you played on the ice, but you wear a special kind of shoe that helps you run on the ice, almost like suction cups. I swear to God, it's the craziest thing to watch. But it led to the guys playing shinny hockey, right, which is playing on skates. Same idea. And then somebody said, well, it'd be easier to do this if the stick was shaped like this, and so on and so forth. So hockey actually originated in Nova Scotia. But yeah, it's neat to actually look where that stuff comes from. It's like a majority of what we're doing in this hobby. You guys ever heard of the Berlin method when it comes to reef tanks?
Yeah.
Heard about it all the time.
All the time. And why? Because it was a German dude in Germany that came up with the idea of like, why are we doing it this way and trying to do all this crap? The rocks do the filtration. No, they don't. Yes, they do. Blah, blah, blah. And it's really hard to find information on it. You can find out the guy, I forget his name, and it's a German name. Go figure. Really hard to pronounce,
Imagine
but yeah, imagine, eh? But it's really interesting to watch these guys that were doing this. Like, you look at Nick Cruz. These guys have been doing this for like 25, 30 years. I see why they're so off-put, that people are so against new things, because when these guys were coming up with doing it without under-gravel filters, without this really crap gear, and saying you can do it just like this with water changes, they even said nobody fought that the same way that they fight like bubbling, or that they fight dosing bacteria versus doing, extreme chemicals and everything else. And it's like, I get it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with computers. Everyone argues about computer stuff, and I'm sitting there going, but Moore's law says every 18 months, it's going to triple, man. It's going to change. And the only thing that's never kept pace is RAM. I don't know why. And when I read up on it, it has to do with the availability of the material to make RAM. And I'm sitting there going, what? And it's because Intel, the lion's share of the silicone technology that they use to make their strained wafers, and AMD, they suck it up for that and the video card technology. That's why video cards are as advanced as they are. They're pumping a ton of info into that. Research to actually make those. Look at video cards. I mean, anybody here who's a geek, you look at your video card that's in your rig right now, a majority of us, it's more powerful than your first computer was. The video card alone.
There's more power in a cell phone than there was on the first Apollo space mission.
Actually,
That's scary, isn't it?
you're right.
That's
But
scary.
what's even scarier is, the Texas Instrument Scientific Calculator that came out in the 80s. You guys remember that one with the LED?
Yeah.
TI-83, baby.
Right. That was more powerful than the computers they used to send. If they had that, they actually could have done all the stuff for the Apollo 13 mission that they were having issues with quicker. because it would have crunched the numbers they were looking for faster. It amazes me that technology jumps like that, right? And I've always been interested in that. So maybe that's why I'm a little more open to new things on the hobby than some people. Like, I don't know, maybe, right? So anyway, just food for thought.
So I have a cool food for thought for you guys.
All right, let's do it.
Some of you may have heard about it before, but it's a little bit of sauce that I uncovered by someone in the know over there at Worldwide Corals.
Mhm.
And we're talking about things that came from other countries that people are less willing to accept. So, has anybody ever heard about papone?
What?
What?
Pappone.
No,
Papone?
Yeah,
I
so
will.
it's
Never heard
Italian.
of.
So in a couple of the videos from Worldwide Coral, one of them in particular by Inappropriate Reefer, I think it was, Worldwide Coral say they feed 8 times a day in their coral system, and he asks, "What do you feed?" And they ring, they rattle off some things, but they never actually showed him what they fed, and they didn't tell him what they fed or what the contents of it was. But somebody told me what it was is actually something called papone. Now, what papone is, and I have a link for you guys because it's from the heyday.
Yeah.
But
Like
basically
that.
what it yeah, I'm linking it to you guys. So basically what you do is that you run your alkalinity fairly high, about 10, your calcium level very high, and you use a mixture of fresh seafood that is also laced with something called HGH and sugar.
Human growth hormone?
Red Bull.
They're using human growth hormones.
Yep, it's
For
not
their corals?
obtainable. Yep, it's not obtainable legally here in the United States, but there are alternatives.
We have the same DNA, so
You know what they're
why not?
using? They're using somatotropin. I bet you dollars to donuts.
Somatropin.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I had to think about how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they're using. Well,
Oh, I
If
can't
you
link it
guys
in there.
want it, let me know. Now let me
I'll,
stop.
I'll put it. I'll put it in the Hangout chat. You can link it in there.
Wait, so they're using
Jose
HGH.
Canseco knows where to get it.
Correct.
Huh?
Correct.
That means,
that's a huge topic. Oh, cruise. Anyway, sorry.
So basically, the general materials for it, the recipe: 5 oysters, 5 mussels, 5 clams, 5 shrimp, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 200 milliliters of RODI water, 10 grams of red algae, and 10 grams of spirulina. That's all blended together into a slurry.
I can see why they're doing
And how
that.
much?
That's all dense
How
nutrients.
many IUs of growth are they using?
I'm looking to see exactly how much are you. Oh, 1.33 milligrams of somatropin.
this is what
With the
Worldwide
Hold
Coral's
on.
talking
I
about,
just
folks?
lost you.
the polypeptide hormone
Yeah.
somatropin or GH.
Yeah, and if we're going to get technical, that's exactly what they're using it for, is the polypeptides.
Yep.
Yeah.
In general,
Wait,
you use
all right.
about 1.33 milligrams of somatropin, which corresponds to the 4-unit vial. You mix and prepare the cubes, put them away in the freezer.
Wait, they're using 4 IUs?
1.33 milligrams of somatropin. I don't know how they're prepared or distributed.
No, I mean, you don't technically talk about peptides in grams. You normally talk about them in IUs.
Well, it's a 4-unit vial, so
So
I'm
yeah, that's
guessing,
IU.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
okay,
That's
there you
IU.
go.
Four
that's
unit.
IU.
Yeah.
So they're using 4 IUs. That's retarded.
yeah.
You know why they're doing that though? You could, if you think about it just from a health standpoint, how brittle are their coral? I'd almost be curious. Is there a way to measure that? Because the skeletal growth would be far exceeding tissue growth. Would it? Or no, be the other way. There'd be more tissue growth than actual accelerated skeletal growth. That explains the high calcium and the high alkalinity.
Yeah.
You're
No,
gonna
it's
put
all
a paste-
around. It's all around growth.
Yeah, it's all around just
It's
growth.
all around growth.
So I mean, some people have said, some don't use the sugar because it's a carbon source. So some of them forego the sugar, but they all use that somatropin or somatropin, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, somatropin, you got it. It's the stuff.
But how does the or react when it comes to normal tanks? I don't get that. They have to shrivel and bleh.
It won't. It's there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. It's no different than anyone else doing that, right? They found a proprietary blend of product that they're using, and it's causing growth, right? And they're a growth industry. That's not them meaning them. They need growth in those tanks to sell what they're doing. So I would recommend doing that in your tank. And I bet you even TMG would say the same thing. That is not the smartest thing to be putting into your tank.
No, I mean, no. There's nothing. That's like my reception is a little shoddy right now.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
If I go out. But no, it makes so much sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. In the fact that they're implementing it the exact same way you would in the human for for
Yeah, where's Cruz? Yeah, we need
high growth. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So I have the explanation of why they use the somatropin.
Okay.
Okay, so GH or somatropin is a human polypeptide of small dimensions that presents a noticeably different structure in different species. It is therefore derived with an elevated biological specificity, in the sense that the GH from one species is in general completely different and therefore inactive in others. In the case of humans, the only one that has any effects from a simian GH, it promotes the sequence of 191 amino acids in linear chain, carries out two fundamentally important actions in humans and in corals: growth of the body, calcareous, and the regulation of cellular metabolism, specifically of that of protein synthesis. So basically, these people are feeding this chemical, the somatropin, and immediately, because it's mixed in with the food that the corals are getting in terms of the proteins in the seafood that they're used to eating, and it causes them to rapidly grow.
Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the protein.
No.
Has
Well, that's what it
everything to
says.
do with it. It has everything to do with the carbohydrates.
The
And
carbohydrate.
yeah, it said
Yes.
protein here.
Yeah, I mean protein. Yes, it's fundamental. I mean, it's a part of the equation,
It's
but
the
it's
link.
not.
It's a link between the two, exactly. So they're using carbohydrates basically as a growth hormone, and using the polypeptide as the what's the word I'm looking for?
No, so what it is, it's
Synergist?
all right. So when you use growth hormones, the carbohydrate stimulates the organism to be more receptive. It's not necessarily you can't use a growth hormone without the carbohydrates. It just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? It causes carbohydrates causes other hormones like insulin in the human body to be released.
Right.
And then that makes it more susceptible to repairing itself, and that's why the proteins are present. The proteins are just present to repair itself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's kind of really dope that they're using that. It works like that in corals. It's like my mind is blown right now. And
Yeah,
like
I'm sitting here going,
4 IUs is what the human body produces on everyday basis to maintain itself. A bodybuilder will probably use about 10 IUs to sustain growth. You know.
So I think it's also important to realize that they're not feeding this all at once. So
no.
what they're doing is they're blending it in the recipe and dividing out those feedings. And from what I'm reading, it feeds it every other day, give or take. But it's not unlike feeding your tank, but except they have this other
Okay,
thing
so
inside of it
it's not 4 IUs for a total
for a
day.
shot for one shot. Yeah, no. They split out the
Gotcha.
feeding. They split out the feeding. Like you can feed every day, but you're feeding this particular type of food.
Oh,
And
I'm about to go crazy right now, right? Do you know what? No. Like, do you know what you just did? Like, Oh my gosh, I'm about to go home and like start mixing some stuff up.
Yep, I was just thinking that for you, TMG. You're gonna
Yeah,
have
I'm
to bring
looking
on
up.
that.
I'm looking up
You
the different
just-
studies. That's why I've been quiet over here. I'm like researching all the white papers on it.
Yeah,
You
you
just
can
unlock.
insulin. It's illegal.
Excuse me?
I don't have the ability to post in the chat, so I did
You
post
will
the
in a
link
moment.
in the
Hold
in
on.
the,
I'll
in the
post
You
it.
thing.
can post it in this chat, and we can post
Yeah,
it.
that's what I posted it in the Hangout chat, so you guys can.
Now, wait, somebody just said it's illegal
Yeah, in Sweden.
in
Oh,
Sweden.
everything's illegal in Sweden.
Why? Wait, you guys are like the only European country that's probably illegal, and that's crazy.
You
But
can
that's
get
the funny
it.
thing.
You
That's
can
the
get
funny thing.
a recipe, but not
Yeah.
on your
So
own.
you guys,
so
were talking about growth hormones earlier on, and obviously using it somatropin for
Yeah.
for
Oh,
growth
see, even
growth.
he knows what it is. That you could go to the local corner store in the UK and probably get that.
Yeah.
No, I
Lucky
don't know what it is.
bastard.
I've just heard what you said now, but like being a person that's grown up where I've grown up, and obviously I spent a lot of time in the gym when I was younger. I know growth hormone. So
Yeah.
and when you were saying about carbohydrates and proteins and stuff, they both have to play. So the protein is what is going to work with the growth hormone for you to grow.
Yeah.
You need the proteins for your muscles to grow, to feed your muscles. Basically the energy to keep, to give you the energy to grow. You
No,
need that. You need that.
and for the insulin.
Yeah. So that's what the balance is between the two. So you do need proteins and you do need carbohydrates because, like, say for example, when you're bulking, you'll eat a lot of starchy stuff like potatoes and stuff like that because you want the carbohydrates. You want all of that on you because you're bulking up. You want to grow. You want to grow big. You want to grow fast. But then when you're cutting, and you want to get, you just want all your muscles to be defined, then you borderline completely drop the carbs and just focus on the proteins and stuff.
Well,
Because
you can still burn the sugar in your body if you're in ketosis.
No, you can't. It doesn't work like that.
You can,
It's
can
not
burn
about
fat like
it's not about burning fat or burning sugar. It's what the sugar does. It's just simply there for releasing insulin so your body doesn't go into shock. So
But you can be in ketosis long term and be fine. Like you can have zero sugars that you're ingesting. If you have enough fat. Like I've been in ketosis for like 6 months straight before, where I was on a solid meat diet because it was the only thing that could prevent me from having seizures.
Annika, I'm in ketosis right now. I've been in for 5 months. I just did a carb cycle.
I've done. That's what I'm saying is you can go long periods of time without sugars. Your body's. Are you losing weight rapidly?
Oh, absolutely. I was 410. I'm 325 right now.
I've been in ketosis since
Congratulations
lunchtime.
on losing weight. I was not overweight when I started, and I had to get out of ketosis because I was losing way too much weight. I mean, I look like a skeleton, but it was the only thing that could prevent me because it changes your brain chemistry. It was the only thing that prevented me from having seizures was being in ketosis.
Yeah, Annika, what I'm saying is you can't be in ketosis with growth hormones. It doesn't work.
Oh, okay. I need to look up how that works.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. Even with all the protein intake, I don't think it'll work either. That would be kind of scary.
I'm telling you from experience, it won't work. You will die.
With human growth hormones?
You need what's it called? You need insulin. Your insulin is going to spike, and you need the carbohydrates to counteract that, so you don't go into insulin shock. That's just how it works. It's not.
What do you mean by long term? Do you mean months or years?
No, like the same day. Like you'll die. Like a few hours.
You'd get acid ketosis at that point. You'd burn the other way.
Ketoacidosis is actually what it's called, and that's completely different. That takes place in your liver.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, that's not that. Ketosis has nothing to do with that word, ketoacidosis.
But what's it called? So what I was gonna say. So Tristan, does it say anything about IGF-1, IGF-2? Because those you could actually get legally. The peptides, you could the individual peptides that make up growth hormone, you could actually get those illegally for research, quote unquote research purposes.
Yeah, I'm like 6 pages in, and some people are saying that they've it's not available to them, so that's what they're using as a replacement.
IGF-1 or IGF-2?
Looking.
Do you know anybody who works in a lab that could get it?
It's you go online. It's easy as hell to get. It's not like type. Like I'm not even.
What I'm saying is, if it's illegal where he lives to obtain.
No, it's in Sweden.
If
I
it's
don't know anything
illegal
about
to
Sweden.
obtain, you can obtain it legally through somebody that works in a lab.
Well, it's the same thing if you want to get into things that are illegal.
I order cyanide online for metalsmithing.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's
like if I
like
can order cyanide
Interceptor.
over the internet,
If you get
because I
red
have
bugs on your
yeah.
coral, you can use Interceptor in your tank to kill those red bugs. But you have to obtain it through a veterinarian. And a veterinarian can look at you, no, not a chance. I'm not giving you that because he doesn't know what you're using it for.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you explain it to them what you're using it for, they'll let you have it because they know you're not going to give it to a pet willy-nilly or whatever the case is. But, it does work, right? So it's one of those things that it just freaks you out, right? Why would this be such a problem? But if you look into what Interceptor actually does, I get it. Because you could do nasty
things. Is it a
things.
neurotoxin?
What
is it?
It is used, I think, for heartworm in dogs.
Okay, so does it just kill the worm and make the dog sick, similar to how chemotherapy works, or?
Kind of. I know dogs get it, and they get like one heartworm medicine, Interceptor Plus, Interceptor. Give me a sec here.
They probably also mix it with a lot of other things, kind of like with Tylenol. They try to make it almost impossible to OD on Tylenol because it's mixed in with other things that work as like an Ipecac. So if you take a whole bottle of Tylenol, usually you throw up a lot of it.
Melbamycin.
Unless you're high on drugs or something, or if you're on something that'll prevent you from throwing up. But they mix those in with other things. So if you're looking for the active ingredient in Interceptor, they have other things in it. Those other things could poison your tank.
Demodex. It's Demodex and Sarcoptes. Okay, got it. It's so what it is, it kills nematodes, is what it is in dogs, right? And cats, mostly dogs, because dogs get heartworm much more often. And that's how it works through blocking neurons in invertebrates. Wow, no wonder corals don't like it. Okay.
Are you talking about levomesamol or?
Levomesamol. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I got levomesamol. I got it from my vet for my corals.
And then Interceptor Plus also has praziquantel.
So what does it do in the reef tank, just real quick?
It kills red bugs. Because red bugs are actually a form of nematode.
How is what I'm asking,
by blocking their neuron interceptor.
Okay, so it acts as a neurotoxin to them?
To them.
So that their nervous system, but it doesn't do that to anything else in the tank?
Yeah, it does it to inverts. Anything that's an invertebrate.
Inverts, okay, that makes sense.
Your shrimp are going to die, probably, and chances are your corals are going to suffer it out a bit. So.
Yeah, the dosage is not enough to usually harm your corals, but if you have really young shrimp, baby shrimp, peppermint shrimp, they'll bite the bullet. But I've done Interceptor with a cleaner shrimp before, a couple cleaner shrimp, 3.
Suffered it pretty good.
They suffered pretty bad, but they didn't die.
They didn't die.
Yeah, my cleaners didn't die from Interceptor. They died from being lethargic, and my wrasses took them out.
So it was the other way. Yeah, so the poor bugger got weak, and then the fish picked him off.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he was dead.
Better to quarantine your cleanup crew and quarantine the things that might get harmed, and then intercept with the tank.
Try catching my blood shrimp in my 120. I've been trying to do that for a week. Yeah, he's a smart, agile little bugger. He doesn't want to be caught. He's not getting caught.
Mine comes right up to my finger when I'm pipetting eggs. He comes right up. I feel this little tickly thing.
Yeah, mine doesn't trust me.
At me, trying to get eggs out of my hands.
Right, I should have got my cleaner shrimp out before the tank got him and killed him, because he would come up to me and I could have put the net behind him and scooted him into the net. Yeah. The blood shrimp, on the other hand, has got his middle finger up the entire time that my hands are even walking up to the tank. That guy's not playing with me, right? So, it's one of those things. I'm kind of interested. We definitely trust it. We're gonna get Cruz in here. Because I'm sure he probably already knows what we're talking about. And he's probably
I was pre-med, but nutrition and microbiology, how the body processes humans, is what my degree was in, even though I was going to surgery school. That's And then I decided to do robotics. So I think a lot of people like forget that I was a pre-med student. So my education, my undergrad was in biology, and I studied like nutritional sciences and such. And
Right.
which was very beneficial when I found out I had when I developed epilepsy later, because I didn't get epilepsy until years later. And they started putting me in Mayo Clinic. I did a trial run through them, and then John Hopkins is actually the one who got me on ketosis. So they've been stopping pediatric seizures, like stopping them cold, like kids that were having 20 seizures a day and causing brain damage to having 0 seizures a day by being in ketosis 24/7. But these kids are eating 0 carbs. Like not even, like some people think low carb, they think 10, 20 carbs a day, 50 carbs a day. These are 0, like not 1 grain of sugar. So, and this is for month to month.
Grandma is a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah. And
she went into ketosis, and she hasn't been out for years
That's-
now, and she's she's not shooting up anymore. Her body's
They've been doing ketosis
tremendous.
for that for years.
She's lost so much weight to where she's back to like her almost normal body weight. And grandma's what? Grandma's 78.
And is her mind clearer? And she's like,
what? Grandma got more energy than anybody. Grandma travels the world.
Ketosis does that. That was my issue with it, is after being in it for about 5-6 months, I looked like a skeleton. I was, like I said, I'm 5'11". I was about $140 when I started on ketosis. I was like $118. And I'm not like a frail 5'11". I'm muscular and everything. So I looked like Auschwitz victim. People thought I had an eating disorder. It's just I was always in ketosis. So everything I ate, I was burning. So
the first year I was in ketosis, at work we do this thing every year. You go, you get this body panel done, and then for doing it you get like $350 up to like $800 for your health insurance. Go to your FHA or what, not FHA, your health money. I forgot what the hell it's called. But so I went the year that I was really heavy, and the next year I went back 100 and something pounds lighter. And the lady said, something is wrong. I really think you need to go to your doctor and get checked out. And she scared the bejesus out of me. And I went to the doctor and explained, like, this is what I've been doing. And he did a full panel, blood work and everything, checked my thyroid. And he was like, well, honestly, this is great. If you don't mind, would you mind coming in like once a month for the next 8 months that you're on this?
Right.
Totally free, but we just want to study what you're doing here because you look fine, no cholesterol or anything like that, but you're losing weight so rapidly. And for me, I got the stupid flab. I got the stupid flab right after that first 100 pounds, and I had to jump right back into the gym, like go crazy to try and work off the flab.
Yeah. And do you ever sit in sauna or anything like that? Like,
yeah, I would go into the sauna. Sometimes when I work out, I would wear the sweatsuit, the bodysuit, to just purge of water, especially like if I'm carb cycling. But I found that every 12 days I'll stop losing weight unless I carb cycle.
You like plateau?
I plateau, and then I carb cycle for like a weekend. I just do stupid stuff and eat garbage, and then I go right back into it Monday. And
sometimes the body needs a kickstart. Like a lot of people who do extreme diets, they need to have, like they say, a cheat day. They need like every 10, what you said, like 12
days.
That's within the range. That's completely normal, like 10 to 15 to 20 days. A lot of people, they need to, like Chris Pratt was talking about how when he was losing weight, he had to go out and eat just a crap load of like garbage food for a day, like 3,000 calories, 4,000 calories in a day.
That's to keep you sane.
Well, it keeps you sane, but it also tells your body, oh, hey, by the way, we're not starving to death. So you can keep losing. We're good. Yeah. So, and I think it helps psychologically. You just don't want to overdo it to the point. Like there's a guy that I know. I think he has a YouTube channel called Fat Meets Fire. And he was talking about how like he couldn't do cheat days because his cheat days would be like 15,000 calories. He was a big guy and he lost a ton of weight. And anyway, my point is that he like cheat days work for most people, but you still need to keep your cheat days within reason. Like you can't,
Well, I
you
get
know, or
over
else
it
you're trying to lose
by
weight.
taking
I can't
exogenous
have them
ketones.
daily.
Hey Dev, we started out, we were talking about peptides for corals
Yeah.
and proteins and carbohydrates for corals, and then that
Mhm.
turned into like, wait a minute, they're using human growth hormone for corals, and then that turned into like how the human body metabolizes
Dev has been
things
into some
and
of the more
ketosis.
interesting parts of the web. Dev, have you heard about Papone, the Papone method before
I have not.
of using human growth hormone and a mixture of oysters, mussels, clams, shrimp,
Hmm.
red algae, and spirulina blended very fine? Apparently, it's the secret behind worldwide corals. They're 8 times a day feeding.
I have not heard
Do
that
they
before.
mix it themselves? Or
They
because
make
it
it
reminds
themselves.
me of the Rod's Foods.
Mhm.
Rod's Foods has their like multi mix, and it's got carrots and broccoli in it. It's got all kinds of stuff in it,
Mhm.
and it's got mussels, clams, shrimp. So
I like one of these days. I think I'll try making my own food, but
yeah.
interesting. It's probably good for it.
But Tristan.
Yeah.
So what were they saying about IGF? The IGFs.
They were using it as alternatives. I mean, I've seen just about as many people using IGF-1 as IGF-2 because I think they're almost the same thing. They're both insulin something something whatever
Insulin growth
protein.
factor.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Nice. All right, I'm probably gonna try this.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the recipe is really easy. It looks like great, just overall great fish food. And you know, even if you're unable to get the HGH, I think you could probably lace it with something like Celcon like a couple of different types of amino acids, you know,
Mhm.
and use that instead.
No, you could IGF. IGF is legal.
IGF is legal, okay.
Yeah.
Coral
IGF-1,
steroids.
IGF-2.
Just make sure you're dosing the right amount. that you have an actual, because I've got like a gram scale because I deal with like gold and stuff like that. So make sure you're not.
Annika, I am not
What?
new to this. I am not new to this.
No, I mean like I'm
No,
saying
I'm like
general
I'm just gonna.
crowd, not a lab rat. I mean like I'm saying that if people think that they're dosing like 4 units, they're not dosing 400. They're not like eyeballing it.
Yeah, it's really straightforward.
Your corals are gonna be all ODing next time we talk to you.
Yeah,
Literal
exactly.
Reefroids.
So I guess
Yeah.
Cruz says they use hydrocodone or
Really?
codone. Yeah, that's what they use. Yeah.
But
They
there's
dose
also
hydrocodone?
one. There's also
I've got
one
some
more.
upstairs.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's also one more peptide that's a part of the growth hormone strip. I can't remember what it's called. I just remember. Did the thingy jump out? Did Aaron jump out?
Yes, Mike did. Yep.
Oh dang! Because I would have asked.
Stop talking about boobs.
Lost interest.
It basically induces hunger. It makes you hungry. I can't remember. When I go home, I gotta look at it to see what it is.
Are we on people or corals right now?
We're on both.
It works. I mean, it works on people, but the thing is,
man, I'm hungry
it's
right
a
now.
part. If it's a part of the whole GH structure,
Mhm.
but since it's broken apart from the GH structure into its individual peptide, it's legal. Like the actual GH, the whole peptide is illegal for unless it's for medical use, unless a doctor gives it to you. But the actual, when you go through and chop them up into pieces, it's not. If you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So it's legal for research purposes. But what's it called? So I was wondering if that kind of played a role. Like, can you imagine, like, if you could induce like your corals like feeding response, like stupid polyp extensions?
Okay, I got you for that. I got something for that actually. So, funny story. A couple of years ago, I want to say has to be about 7 years ago. I was at absolute fish in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And 3 German guys came in, and they had with them and they were trying to sell Absolutely Fish their product. They wanted to try their product. One of it was green and one of it was red. There was a green and a red powder. and they wanted to sell them, and it wasn't expensive. I think it was like maybe $25 per thingy, and it came with a little dosing thing inside of it, but it was a powder. And they really wanted to sell it or whatever, but the guy was like, I'm not gonna buy this stuff and carry it in my store unless I get to try it out. And they were like, okay, well, can we try it in one of your tanks? And they pointed over to an SBS Softy Mixed Reef. So the guy went over there, took out one scoop of this stuff, the red one, mixed it with some water, and then poured it in the tank. This is normal daylight lights on the tank, just standard reef lighting for growth or whatever. Within, I want to say about 15 minutes, almost everything inside of that tank turned itself inside out. There were corals just guts out. It looked like it was midnight in your tank with the type of extension that they got. And then he mixed the green stuff in the same water and fed it to the same tank, and everything just went buck wild. Everything was just like grabbing. Xenia was going stupid. Coral polyps were going crazy, and I don't know what kind of like hardcore cocaine he just put in that tank. But I bought 3 bottles. And I still have 2 bottles from it right now. But I have been unable to find this crap anywhere on the interwebs for the longest time.
So quick, do they tell you what's in it?
No, they didn't tell me what's in it. And the bottle is in German and other crap. I gotta go downstairs and get it.
So I just
if you show us a picture, we could
actually
figure it out.
I'll be right back.
I want some.
So I just what's it called, Tristan? I just remember the name of the peptide. It's called GHRP6.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
No, I hear you just fine. Go ahead, bud.
Oh, no, I was telling Tristan the name of the peptide is called GHRP6.
Growth hormone releasing peptide 6, also known as growth hormone releasing hexapeptide, is one of the several synthetic metencaphalin, I'm probably saying that wrong, analogs that include unnatural D-amino acids. Interesting.
Hey, Jeeves, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, y'all?
What's happening?
Not much, brother. Not much, brother.
This really is reefer madness.
Hey, everyone.
So I'm just, hey, Tina, how you doing, girl? I heard you lost a torch.
Yeah, that gold one I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Brown jelly.
It went on.
It's been on its way out though since I had it in the 50, so I expected it.
Yeah, you saw it coming, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that there's going to be a banter with Michael Aaron's Aquarium. So make sure you guys subscribe. He's doing that. Is that this Saturday, Michael? I do believe.
Define this banter you speak of.
I know. I'm curious. He's dropping hints and bombs, as it were, but not really saying.
It's teasing.
Best stream so far. I have my moments. I have my moments.
He wants to keep us in suspense.
That's what he's doing. He does. He wants to make sure you all tune in. Watch what's going to happen. I have no idea.
Well, he's just going to have to tell me, because Saturday I'm going to be gone all day looking for a mother of the bride's dress, and I won't be able to get out, probably. So he's just going to have to whisper in my ear.
There you go. He might.
So this is Saturday? This is Saturday we're talking about?
This Saturday, yep.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm able to make
I'll
it.
be out of town.
I'll be getting drunk and eating crawfish.
The birth of reef banter, he says. So it's going to be obviously reef related. It's probably going to be, I don't know.
That's one plump fish you got there.
Maybe I'll be able to turn on my
Lumber.
out of town settings or whatever.
So I think it's called the blue coral method. BLU.
Excellent. So yeah, so
That
there
was
we
actually
go.
what I found. sorry, I came running back when I heard you say the BLU. That the Papone blue coral method.
Yeah.
That's what I found. Great news on my sun coral update. So it's a full black sun coral, and I couldn't get him to feed. I would pipette stuff to him, and he wouldn't open. So now I've been putting in his own little container and doing the Fido and then the eggs.
Right.
Now his mouths, after 3 days of doing that, his mouths, they haven't opened, but he's been eating, and his mouths are big and puffy and swollen. So it's like, here's the cup, and instead of being down, it's like, it's kind of distended.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice. And the mouths are all slit open, and it's only been 3 days. So any day now he's going to burst everything open.
Mine opened up. So I actually got lucky. They did it on their own. I put them under a rock, and that actually did it. That got them out all the time. So every day around 6 o'clock now they open up.
Yeah.
I'll feed them, and now they're opening more and more because they know kind of roughly that's when the food's going to be in the tank.
Yeah.
But I can't overdo it, right?
I do mine between like 11 and 1 in the day.
Yeah.
I'm a little late today. I didn't start till 2, and it's already 3. I do about an hour long, but it's like they're finally like they're all swole up, so it's kind of nice. So really excited.
Hey, question. With the whole that HGH6 whatever you're talking about, reading it sounds like it's like a synthetic amino acid.
All
at
these
the
are
end of the day.
synthetic.
So
all these are synthetic.
What's the advantage over just dosing regular amino acids?
It's that when the aminos are in structures, they'll lock into certain receptors before they're broken down. You know what I'm saying?
Are we talking corals or people?
Any living organism.
Okay.
In a living organism, the peptide locks in, does what it has to do, and then it's broken down into aminos. A peptide is all it is just a chain of aminos that serves a purpose.
But why dose synthetic ones when you can get the real ones?
Because the real ones, it doesn't work the same. It's pretty much like, why would you eat pasta when you can have meatballs in the morning, sauce for lunch, and pasta for dinner? Why would you have a meal? Because it's not the same. So together, when the aminos are structured a certain way into a peptide, it's like a lock and key. It's a lock and key. You know what I'm saying? So the aminos structured together into a peptide are the key to the lock, to the receptor, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then, but in a sense, they're all just aminos, just with a cool shape. Yeah. So it's just like DNA. DNA is amino acids, but your DNA does this whole lock and key thing to replicate itself, to create new cells and everything. And when DNA dies, when you die, it just goes back to amino acids. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of DNA, yesterday.
Hey, can someone drop the link in real quick in the chat? Let me so I can show you guys the stuff. I'm logging on my phone.
So it's not the purpose of getting aminos into the system. It's getting peptides, structured aminos into the system to see if there's a lock for their key within the coral.
Is it the one, Tristan, that you dropped in the chat?
Okay. The link that I put in the chat is taking you to the. I'm sorry, Annika. The one that's in the chat is taking you to the discussion on it from what I've been thinking about doing. But I was gonna say, can you drop the other link for the Hangout so I can show you these two things that I'm using what the German guys brought?
Yeah, sure. Give me a sec here.
Okay, can I say it? Speaking of DNA, yesterday was the 65th anniversary of Watson and Crick publishing their one-page white paper on deoxyribonucleic acid. Yesterday made 65 years since they published their paper. It was only one page. That's the other funny thing is everything we know about DNA now, they just had one thing that are like, hey guys, we think life comes from this tiny little chain thing. That's the instructions to tell all of the cells what to do and when to do it.
When to do it, yeah.
And then years later, we come up with epigenetics, which is more my interest than genetics itself. Okay.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, X?
Hey. Not much. What's up?
Yeah.
Hey, Tristan, you on?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still trying to get it. It says I'm in the hangout.
Hey, dude, I have a question for you. I saw your videos. How's that stand that you have for your frag tank? Is it holding up?
Oh, that stand is rock solid, man. It's like I can't shake it. My 5-year-old has climbed on it already with the tank on it. I don't know. I think I could probably drive my truck up on top of it.
Yeah, but they give you like I mean, are you gonna use that for your 300?
Yeah, it was just delivered today.
Oh,
The
well, what
unboxing video is coming out sometime tonight, probably.
did you find out what the max weight is on that?
Tons. Because what they do is they give you a printout, a simulation printout. Ooh, look, a bunny outside. I'm sorry. A bunny just ran like he's playing with my tree.
Through ADD.
I was like, oh, look, it's a bunny. I haven't seen one in a while. So yeah. So anyway, they give you a simulation of your tank times 4 on top of the stand, and they do it until they upgrade the components of the stand until there's 0 deflection.
I don't know, man. I'd be kind of nervous about like one of those stands because it's aluminum, and you're talking about the tank alone. It's gonna be with water filled. It's gonna be around like 3,000 pounds.
Right.
It's probably gonna be more than that. It's
more than that. 8.34 pounds per gallon.
Yep.
So that's as easy as it gets. And think about this though. They build aircraft out of aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Aluminum doesn't stress fracture the same way steel or iron does. Right. So and plus, if you look at the actual way that the stand is designed, guaranteed that's spreading that weight out. Right. It's the same thing. I had a guy today. I was looking at an apartment. He's like, da-da-da. My stand is a flat bottom stand. So all that weight is distributed across the load on my wood stand. And he designed it like that. So go ahead.
So just for kind of random comparison, like my stand is basically like a metal frame, right? So the center's all hollow.
Yep.
So it's really only supported on the outside perimeter.
Right, and it goes down to the legs. Those legs then go across the beams at the bottom. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
right. I guess when you disperse the weight amongst the whole, the frame of the tank of the stand, then I guess that's how it works. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
If you look at a bridge, right? Okay, and you look at let's say take a suspension bridge. So you have the stuff coming up, and then the wires coming down to hold it. Each one of those wires isn't holding the whole weight of the bridge; it's holding a certain portion of it. So when you build a base the same way, and I bet you Annika can even speak to this, maybe even a little more than I can, or someone else here who's got some experience with it. But that frame isn't holding that whole ton, right? It's each part of it is holding a portion of that ton, right? So then the 4 legs, you could almost say. You would think 1/4 of every weight is on those 4 legs, but truthfully, depending on the design, it can be much less than that. It may only be 200 pounds per leg.
They call it distributed point load, I think.
You got it. I think that's exactly what it's called. It's distributed point load. I don't know enough.
One of the issues with the older tanks was having a rock that was pointed. Is that it was putting all that pressure on the one spot in the tank versus, because the glass couldn't handle it now. So wouldn't they put like down a grid so that the weight was evenly distributed?
Yeah, a lot of people, go ahead.
What I do, instead of any points, I just smack it with a hammer and make a little flat spot. So
make it flat.
On the rock?
It's not like a point on the rock. I do that on some rocks. I took a hacksaw and just cut a flat spot off so it has a little pedestal. And other ones I'd use a bit of cement and like push it around on a piece of glass.
I was going to do, if I ever do a bare bottom tank, I'm going to put like wax, like molded wax, but dental wax, like the kind that you can have safely in a reef tank. That won't dissolve. The stuff they put on braces so that your braces don't scrape your teeth. But yeah, I'm doing exactly what you're doing now, which is just making sure that the rocks aren't stabbing the bottom of the tank. So
Tristan, it's funny because you showed me that design and it looks like I'm using, you ever heard of I think it's called 80-20 or 20-20 metal?
Yeah. 80-20.
Yeah, and I got some of them for my. That's what I'm hanging my lights with. But is that the same kind of concept? Same kind of material?
It's the same kind of concept, same kind of material, except these are way thicker. So these tubes themselves are not hollow.
Yeah.
They have hollowed
80,
out channels, but what they actually look like internally.
It's like an X kind of shape.
Yeah, 80/20 is extruded aluminum, so there's no breaks in it.
I have a tiny
And so-
chunk of it. 1 second.
Yeah,
hold
it's well, I have a 3D printer made out of it. I could show.
Yeah,
It's extruded
this is what it
aluminum,
looks
so it's
like
going to be
internally.
really strong.
Here's the
it's got-
small version of it. If you look at it, it's kind of like a X. It's called
And then
like
you have
T-slot or
brackets that can hold
1010.
on to it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, you have basically a bigger version of this.
Yeah, so if you look at the structure of what my stand is built out of, this is what those pieces are built out of. This is what it looks like on the inside.
Okay.
Of the actual aluminum. And that's the entire length of the aluminum.
And look at that. It's triangles and arches. Oh my, the two strongest structures you can build something out of. So
And do they
And
make
also,
do they make like, I mean, what are you gonna do for to cover it? I mean, are you gonna cover it at all?
yeah, so the entire outside of the stand is being covered with what's the size bigger than 1/4 inch ABS plastic.
ABS, yeah.
Held in by channeled magnets on it. And I remember you had asked a question also about I believe it was you about about the
footing.
weight, the footing. Okay, so these are very small from what's actually in the actual thing. These are almost the same diameter, not diameter, width or size and shape as the 80/20 itself, except that they're adjustable. And if you notice where all of the feet are, they're on all 4 points of downward going through it.
And look, this, if you know how to 3D print correctly, I don't know if you can see, but that bracket right there is 3D printed. So it's a bracket. It had to be a custom.
Is it clear PG? Or
You know
ABS? What'd you use?
I think it's PLA.
Is it PLA? Okay.
But I built this thing like 5, 6, 7 years ago, 2009 maybe. Nice. Shit, that's almost a decade. So, and they're not brittle or anything, and they've been in every weather.
Nice.
And so anyway, this thing's super heavy, but you could drop it off the rooftop and the 80/20 would survive.
Is that your old school 3D printer?
It was before 3D printers were big, and I just
awesome.
put it to. Yeah, it's dusty. You can see. But, yeah, it is a 3D printer.
I thought so.
It just doesn't look like it's not one you can buy in a store. It looks like something out of Mad Max.
I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Crunch. It's broken. No, exactly. No.
80/20, it can't break.
No, all you got to think of, X, when you're talking about stands, and the reason they use that stuff is that it is the strongest structure you can make, because your connection is all triangles and arches. So you're building a rectangle structure, but you're actually using triangles and arches within it, and that makes it even stronger because the stress load gets dispersed even more. Right?
I don't know, man. I feel like those legs. Looking at those legs, they're so thin. They're like probably like 2x2s.
Yeah.
I think
I'd be so nervous.
I forgot what it's built on. Well, you're gonna see the video itself. So, but in general speaking, like this is what they send you when you do it. This is the simulation that they put on top.
As long as the weight remains up and so you got to understand, distribution isn't just horizontally, it's also vertically. So the legs each are holding that. What would be the breaking point on this, if there was one, is if you shoved it sideways.
Yeah,
I mean, but it would take a lot to do that. You'd probably, I mean, at that point, like if somebody drives into your home, but then you have much bigger issues. But the weight is being distributed through the entire length.
Yeah, and to avoid the shoving sideways is why we have a lot more crossbars and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But you also have to figure out,
if you wanted, you could do a diagonal bar too, for, I mean, and then wedge it in like
sideways or something. But don't forget, on top of this stand is going to be another 3/4 inch thick piece of plywood
Yep.
Right.
and another 1/2 inch thick piece of rubber for the tank to sit on.
What's the
Okay.
length of that?
96 inches.
Okay, 96 by what?
96
By 2?
by 96 by 30 by 26.
Nice. Okay.
Actually, looking at that, I bet you that could hold almost 3 ton, maybe 4, before it would actually, with the flat surface on top. You got to remember, that's what he's doing. You're dispersing that load with the wood top and then the rubber mat onto the top of that, and then that's dispersed out again. Right? So there's no, like, let's face it, you take 3 tons, that's what a hydraulic press is for, man. Right? That's exactly how that works.
That's what that thing is right
yeah,
there.
Exactly. You're
that
just,
right there, that's 50 tons.
yeah.
That thing could kill anything.
Go on YouTube and look up the guy hydraulic press versus
Yeah,
that he does. It's
the
amazing to watch how that stuff actually works. So,
I'm subscribed to that channel. The worst one is when they start crushing diamonds.
yeah.
And I'm just like, you're wasting like multi-$1,000 diamonds just crushing them because you can.
Yep.
Like,
Why? Because I can.
Because it's like, you know.
You're like, I could have made some nice jewelry with that.
Well, even if not, it's like, you know, somebody went through the time and effort to pull it from the ground and then, you know, ship it across and have it faceted. Yeah.
Mhm.
All the energy that went into it, and it's $4,000 because it's been through 100 people's hands, and now you're just like, YouTube, yay, ad revenue.
Easy come, easy go.
Yeah, exactly.
Kristen, how much does a tank like this go for, if you don't mind me asking, if you want to disclose that?
A tank or a stand?
No, the stand.
The stand will definitely depend on your size, but I was quoted right around $1,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, but that was my price.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a couple of, you know, like $2,500 or something. I don't know.
Well, you know what? My wood
It scales well.
That's
I
right.
got a quote from them too. And for a 24 cube, so it was a 20 by 20 by 36 inch, 32 inch stand was like 200. You know, so as you get bigger, it scales because it's still, you're just adding material. They already have the machine set up. You know, you're not paying for all the engineering behind it, I guess.
No.
Yep.
Exactly.
But this is what the actual stand is looking like. So that first one that I showed you was the preliminary drawing, and we actually added 2 more supports because we were going for 0 deflection. So as you can see in the back, instead of just 1, there's 2 supports, 2 rear supports, and also there's 2 rear supports in the middle as well, and they're also supported by the feet. So
it reminds me of an MC Escher drawing. Like, something about it makes me feel like it's like
infinite.
Yeah, like it's like I can't tell if it's the top or the bottom if I'm looking inside of it.
Oh yeah,
looks good, man. I like it.
Yeah, it looks great. It's just the actual image is playing tricks with my mind.
Just optical illusion of depth is what's getting there. Right?
Just a little bit mess with you.
Yeah.
And to be sure, like, this is my stand that I have right now that I built myself.
Yeah.
And if you guys look, I mean, I'm using 2x6s in the tops and in the 4 corners, but the tank itself is centered on this stand. But these are 2x6 posts that are doubled up in the middle.
Yep.
The inside one are going up and down. The outside one is the outside post right here. Like let me get my little pencil thingy. Like this part right here, this is just 1/2 inch ply on the face. So this stand is sitting on 5 2x6 posts that's transferring all of that weight down to another 2x6 runner along the bottom of the stand.
Are those just suction grippy handles up there at the top? Like,
yeah, those are suction grippy handles. Yeah.
What's the payload on each of those? Like, what are they rated at?
180 pounds each for each suction.
Okay. Wow.
How do you like having your stand wider than your tank like that? Like the ledges on each side?
So I loved it because it allowed me to have so much space underneath. I can literally crawl in there and do whatever I wanted to do. I had tons of space for equipment and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And also the 2 sides gave me a working area that I could work next to the tank. So I had like one. If you look on the right hand side, you see my tablet that I used to control the tank and the system. So that was actually on a little stand next to the tank, just doing a all the time readout of what's going on inside of the tank. But I can also control it. But whenever I didn't need that, I can push it out of the way, and I had a working surface for clipping a coral or dripping a coral or a fish, and also it gave me a space to climb up on top of the stand and like get my hand in there. And I would just use a step ladder to get up onto that surface itself. But that's 40 inches high. That's almost 41 and a half inches high. My stand was in this picture, or is rather in this picture right now. But I mean, it worked out really well. Fill up the wall.
I wish I had made mine like that wider, because right now, like, I can't put anything in my tank, in my stand. It's like jam packed. I have like no room whatsoever. You know, I'm putting things on top of things basically at this point.
That's why I did it, because in actuality, what I had intended to do was, as a project, I wanted to grow mangroves, kind of like how they had grown mangroves inside of that cube for Reefer Palooza. So basically, what I had done is I had started the process of sourcing mangroves, because I was going to place 2 small cubes on either side, and the spillover of light from my display would have been enough for those 2 mangrove trees. Because you can see I have enough spillover on each side from my lighting fixture to grow the mangroves.
What kind of light is that? Is that
that's a custom nanobox light? Now it started its life as a ATI 8 bulb T5 sun power. It was powder coated white, and then it had two rows of bulbs removed and retrofitted with 8 nanobox hybrid pucks. So those were controllable with Bluefish, and the ATI was, standard on off.
How many gallons is this tank? You said 120 or?
This is 175. It's this one here is 16 inches long, 30 inches wide, 24 inches high. It's SCA Starfire.
Wait, 16 inches long?
60 inches long.
60. Okay, I was like, I misheard that.
You just got this tank?
No, this is my old tank.
Oh yeah, I like the tank itself, but I hate the freaking the thing in the middle. What do you call it? The overflow.
Overflow, right? Yeah. But the nice thing about it is that the SCA tanks, and I'm not gonna knock their tank itself. I think it's a great tank.
Yeah.
Their overflow though, you need girly arms to get in there. To be quite honest with you, once you've plumbed and put all that stuff together, you're not getting in there. You're not having a good time getting in there to do any type of plumbing, right? It's a wrap. So do it right first time. Triple or quadruple check. But once it's in, it's not too bad. I think in its life, I've only ever had to disassemble that overflow plumbing twice, and that was because I wanted to raise the water level by raising my standpipe, because I was using Bean Animal here. Not Bean Animal, Herbie Overflow. So it was a Herbie Overflow. The middle one is the return. The 2 sides are teed off to make 2 returns on either side. But it's only 2 holes at the bottom.
Oh, mine has 3.
Well, 3 holes, 1 drain, one return that's teed off, and the other one's the full siphon.
Exactly. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I like the tank, but I'm finding that I'm finding like dead spots right next on the back glass, right by those you know what I mean, on the back by the overflow.
Yeah, right down at the base, there where the water. And the only way I found to get rid of that, was not successful in getting rid of it with Ecotech products like Ecotech power heads. I had to get a MP the wave from Neptune, and I angled the 2 front waves in a crisscross pattern across the back of the tank, and that creates a vortex back there that sucks out whatever's kind of cozied up next to the overflow and gets it up into the column.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, while I have you on here, I have a question for you, man. The unique corals, you got all those colonies from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was on their website today, man. I don't see any sticks on that website.
You got to call them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Call them up and tell them what you're looking for. They'll send you a list of what they have. They're actually a store, but they only do sales every so often on Reef to Reef. but they can get you pretty much whatever you want. But you just call them up; they'll send you a list and some pictures of what they got, and you can order directly from them.
Are those mini colonies going for over $80?
No, I didn't pay
Okay.
any. I didn't pay more than $50 for anything I ordered in that video.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
because
the big ultra rainbow Welso that was 99, but I didn't pay more than $50 for anything else.
for everything. Cool. All right. Good deal, man.
Nope. So yeah, so there we go. Look at that. Look at the topics we flew through already today, folks. You're gonna love that.
Sorry, Craig. I just
no.
got it.
No, and it's great. That's exactly what we should be doing. I mean, it's nice to talk basics, and sometimes it's nice to talk really complicated. You know, there should be something here for everybody when they're actually coming in. Hey, Steve. Hey, Dre, still in the house. K Reef. Hey, how you doing?
You guys have all been real busy today.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a day already, and we're barely into this. So you know, don't feel free to ask questions. Yeah, we talk about stuff at length, but you know what? That's the thing. We're going to talk about certain things that interest us at length. You know, it's not all just boobs and fun. You know, although that's always fun.
Some of it's all, some of that's all for, and it's all like gibber. Not
Yeah,
gibber
exactly.
jabber. It's like in a different language.
Yeah,
Y'all are
the
way,
overtly technical.
way smarter than I ever could be. So when you get into all
it's
that
just different. It's different kinds of knowledge. It's not smarter.
No, exactly. It's just that we, you know, some of us are schooled. I'm not a structural engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I understand it because I have dealt with it, whether building my own stand. I'm actually trying to find a link so I can show you guys my stands built. So,
you know, one of the other reasons I actually invested in this aluminum stand, and I've said it a couple of times already, this is a end of reefing type tank that I'm getting. I physically cannot go bigger. There's no other space that I could put a tank of this size or bigger than this size in my house. And when I think about using a natural, naturally occurring product like wood to build the stand, even a well-built stand over time will, develop some type of structural integrity. Water's going to get on it, the best sealing. And I didn't want to deal with the maintenance of also maintaining my stand, So I wanted a product that was going to be a forever type thing. And this is about as forever as I was willing to get with the aluminum. It wasn't going to rust. It wasn't going to break down over time. I couldn't really damage it in any way. It wasn't going to move anywhere. And if I break one of my ABS plastic panels, I can wrap it with wood and change my wood design every year if I felt like it for cheap, because it's not structural. It's just whatever I want to put on it to make it look pretty.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
And in that sense, I was like, you know what, I would invest myself, whether or not it was, I was going to be sponsored by them or not for this build. I was going to go with that stand because I wanted it to be a forever thing. And if I hit the lotto and I find myself an opportunity to get a bigger tank, it's aluminum, it's modular. I can take it apart and put it back together wherever I move to or go to. Or if I decide to put a 140-inch long tank, I just got to add some more extruded aluminum. It's not like it's permanent. Oh yeah, that's right. Happy birthday, Lisa. I was waiting for you to pop in here.
Yeah, we can all say that. Happy birthday to Lisa Love Aqua, and hope you have a great day. I know you're not feeling the greatest, but hey, hopefully you will. So, yeah, where are we going? Oh man, it's gonna be a bugger to find this because it's old. He built this stand probably 5 years ago. So, but yeah, it's definitely it's interesting when you're looking at stands. Like my 20-gallon stand, I actually added wood to the top and made braces to stop any lateral movement, right? And I got it mostly under control. But if I had my way, and it's possible with the move that we're looking at, that I'll be able to do that, right? You know what I mean? So there's the doors on the frame. I don't know. You tell me. Was somebody saying they didn't want to hinge their doors to the frame?
Aquarium Cabinet Solutions was saying, why didn't they hinge the doors to the frame of the actual stand that I had? And that's a really easy one. This is a prototype, ACS. In actuality, if you guys are familiar with the Nuvo line of tanks, they came out with a line of tanks that are also using the same extruded aluminum that they have wrapped with a kind of wood-looking, like a wrap of some type or design on it. But the design that I have here was pretty much a prototype for me. It's one of the first ever ones that they're building for this aquarium hobby. They want to break into it, so I'm their testing ground. And don't worry, they're fully insured and they've already taken responsibility if this thing falls apart with my tank on it. So I got that in writing too. It's no gentleman's agreements here, but for the most part, I think they've done their due diligence on it. But yeah, so the hardware needed to do the hinge doors and a supplier for a nice door design wasn't immediately available in the time frame that I had aquarium cabinet. So we didn't go with that option, and I opted for the ABS that was engraved. Cut out. It was cut out. My logo for the channel was cut out of the actual ABS. So that's going to appear on one of the panels and be backlit, so I can light up the logo with whatever color I want to with my under cabinet lighting. So it was just a couple of different things, but the ABS was kind of thrown in there last minute because I was actually planning to wrap this stand with wood. But now that I have this ABS, I can kind of delay that project for a bit.
Nice. Cool. So there we go.
That's awesome, aquarium cabinet decisions, because I might be picking your brain soon. Because if I do source a good doors for me, I'll be asking you how to attach them to this frame.
There's the stand that I currently have on my 120 linked up in the chat there, guys, if you want to have a look and start to finish almost picture-wise of how that stand that I'm running, how it was built. And you can see the guy overdid it in every which way, to be honest. Yeah, every last bit of it. There it is. Cool. I forgot that was in there. So I found it.
Mine is the same thing.
Yep.
I have the I actually used 2x4s. I used I used 3 2x4s on each corner. I overdid mine. Mine was heavy as crap. I couldn't lift that thing up.
Yeah, my stand takes at least 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least. And it's the only thing I've got to do now, I'm going to get some soft close hinges for it. Because, unfortunately I talk about making a goof. Most of the time on my overflows, I don't glue the pipes in. You don't need to, except for the initial pipe, so that it doesn't get pushed out. And that's not even been a problem for me. But unfortunately, what I was getting was a lot of back pressure on the 45s, and it was creeping. So I was getting spray, and I was getting creep off of the spray, and it was getting that little And anyway, it just turned into a hell on earth. So I've got that under control, but it did rust the hinges on the door because it was all in that one section this was happening. So, yeah.
Somebody once mentioned to put some Vaseline on the hinges.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm probably actually going to get that on the go.
Clear nail polish works well too.
And that's what I was going to say. I'm going to clear nail polish it to cover it and then put a little Vaseline over top. And that should keep it rust-free. When I move everything, I may actually even redo parts of the stand to make sure it's cleaned up and not I don't get any rot, because I think he built it out of maple, as I recall, birch and maple.
Not even a stand. That's like a ballistic shield right there. Cause
did you notice it?
I don't even know. Wow, deflection is non-existent. I see. You could fail like 50% of your upper support, your vertical support, and it'd still be okay.
You're talking about my stand?
Yeah,
that's an aerospace engineer working with wood. That's what that is. Right? He literally just overdid it like you wouldn't believe. Like, I'm looking at it going, well, why'd you do that? He goes, because it's stronger. And I'm like, okay, was it just because you could? And he went, yeah, it was just, I'm there. I know how to do that. And I figured I'd do this. And it's glued and it's screwed where it needs to be. And it's, and literally it's just one big chunk. And I'm like, wow. I said, and then you added a seahorse and a starfish for the handles. Like I'm all there, man. I love it. It's a great stand. It's well built and it's flat bottomed and it's sealed. So if I get a leak inside my sump to a degree, I actually have some coverage to keep it from going anywhere. So yeah, it's, even the back's closed up and I'm like, well, it probably wasn't the smartest thing, but it works.
You guys see in the image that Nick, Aquarium Cabinet Solutions, Nick, posted, if you see at the very front of the frame, there's the post isn't at the corner, it's back. He's previously showed us that and shown that it's so that the doors, so you can have the recessed hinge. I forget what they call it, where you have to, anyway, so you can have so you can drill in so that you have the pop out.
It's a European hinge, Annika.
European hinge.
Well,
there's
European another, recessed. Yeah, I mean, they call it European, but I don't remember the name of the actual mechanism. Excuse me. It's like with the DeLorean. Not a goose wing or gull wing, but like whatever they call it.
What do you call it, Dick?
A hinge.
The hinge. There you go.
It's just a regular cabinet hinge, to be honest. It's a 110-degree cabinet hinge.
It's not European to you, because you're European.
They're made by Blum, which is generally available over in the States as well. But
BLUM?
I'm trying to find a picture of it. BLUM, yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff by them. Like I have candle holders, and they have they make other things, other home stuff.
Here's one as well, Tristan, that I did for a project where I actually had the tank overhanging for a hospital system, aquaponic system I designed, and that was all metal. That was all metal framed as well. Let's see if I can find the picture of the actual system for you. But yeah, it's just weird because whenever I see people making box stands or aluminium frames, they never make it for the hinges, which I don't understand, because they're always worried about the vertical loading, which is only part of it. You don't actually have to have the post in each corner to deal with the vertical loading, but they always presume that you do for some reason.
That's pretty cool. Every once in a while, I wish that one of you UK guys was just like right over here in North Carolina. I'd be over there all day like, oh, what are we going to build today?
I can do it for you. I can send you the design with the measurements for you to get it made like that. It's not a problem.
Yeah, well, my stand-up arrived today, so maybe for the new system one day.
Yeah, exactly. The next system, right?
The next one.
Which company is it, Tristan? Because I'm looking for companies to partner up with over there to collaborate with.
Framing Tech. FramingTech.com.
Hook me up, and I'll have a chat to them because I need to get some stuff done stateside. Because they always try and do it the same way for some reason.
Get you away, Nick.
Yeah.
Listen, I keep telling people all the time, like, if your tank's gonna be around for a while and you don't plan to upgrade in the next 3 or 4 years or whatever, then go with a good stand. You'd be surprised at how many people's tanks fail because they're on Marine Lang particle board junk, and then they blame it. It's really the stand that led to the failure, and I'm like,
I use it, I paint it, I seal it against that. You know what I mean? Like I was telling a friend of mine, like you can't build your stand completely out of that. I said you can build your base, right? What you're going to sit the tank on the structure itself, but you can't. And even then, just remember it's going to get wet. It will swell. It will start to fail. And he's like, well, and it's like, yeah. So he's the only guy I know whose tank failed because the corner sunk in one night just enough that all of a sudden you just heard you just heard it. And he started to get a leak. He had a TIM leak. It caused the seam on that corner to split. So.
Well, CJ's tank from SC Aquariums is MDF.
Yeah.
And talking about that, Steve announced this week that over at SC Aquariums, they're actually going with hardwood and they're getting away from the MDF wood. So they're going with high-end cabinets now.
Yeah, they're making it out of what you should make it out of because you can seal that wood properly.
Right.
I hate wood. I never use real wood.
I know you
See,
do.
you can get hardwood
Awful,
particle board.
awful stuff.
But you can make it look so nice. You Euros, you guys love your smooth, sleek IKEA crap. I just don't get it. But
Okay,
you can't get anything
build a
better than
stand out of-
particle
You could
board.
build a frame out of a good like hard material, and then you could decorate the outside of it with wood to your heart's content. Because when it looks like crap, you can sand it and paint it back again, and you're back. You're back to good. Or hell, you can have different coverings for your tank. Like this is my winter covering with my fish with, Santa hats on it, and then here's my covering for the summer. Looks like tropics. But that's what I plan to do. If I don't like
seasonal tank covering.
Yeah. If I don't like the ABS doors, I'm just gonna cover the stand with some nice wood, really nice trimmed out wood, and all I'm buying is trim, and some plywood.
Yeah, but how you gonna hold it up on the stand?
Magnets.
You don't need to hold
Clips
it.
or magnets.
Clips or
magnets.
Or you can slide it inside of the channels.
No. Why do you need to hold it up at all? It's a 3-sided box. It's gonna stand up on its own. I just have to slide
you're
it
just
up
doing
against.
a slide and front cover.
Yeah, I just slide the whole U shape up against the tank. That's it.
Tristan,
I
do me a favor. Tristan, do me a favor. Google Kiku clips.
I already wrote it down. I'm like looking at it right now.
KEKU clips.
Yeah.
That's what we use. That's a really solid solution for you. Better than magnets. Better than all of that. Like creating that big box, because you can literally lift the individual doors just straight off and just slide them straight on.
I kind of stuck magnets in my plywood, and that's what I use on mine.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing. Unfortunately, my stand is just not up to task as far as that goes. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do here? Because it's a real cheap stand. I reinforced it, but still, right? It's like, okay. I tried using laminate, and that's not working out because it just bowed out because of the humidity. I'm like, okay, so I got to go thicker. What can I go that's thicker and lighter? And it's like MDF. No.
MDF is not lighter.
No,
MDF is heavy crap.
Heavier, exactly, right? And it soaks up. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'm going to go probably 1/4-inch plywood is what I think I'm going to do.
I think I use
paper.
3/8.
You know the best one to use?
Go ahead.
The best one to use, 18 mil particle board.
18 mil particle?
Mm-hmm. It's the best material to use for an aquarium.
3/4 inch? Yeah. I might go that route.
The reason it's better than wood, the reason it's better than solid wood is that with solid wood, you've got the grain in the wood right that acts as a sinew. So when your boards swell and expand and contract, what happens is the sinew, the grain acts as a sinew, so it only allows the board to expand and contract in a certain direction. So what you get is your boards start to warp and twist. Where with a particle board, surrounding each piece of particle is air, right? So that each particle within the board can expand and contract within that pocket of air without distorting the panel itself.
Right. Okay.
The only thing you need to do, though, is seal the board, because what a lot of companies don't do, which is what you were talking about earlier, Craig, when your friends failed, is they don't seal the edges, all of the edges. What we do in ours, which is why ours are more expensive, is we bond all of the cut edges of the board, each individual component, all the way around.
What do you use to do that?
No moisture. We use edge banding machinery to do that. So it's pressure fed rollers with bonding glue.
Okay, I know you can buy edging for it because that's the particle board. Like that has the melamine or whatever that usually have some kind of a coating on the sides and the edges rough. But I know you can buy little stuff you do yourself. I don't know if it's any good, but
no, we usually it's a pre-glue ion edging that you can buy. What we use is a coil which is 2 mil ABS plastic. So it's and the bonding agents we use is that it bonds to the particles. So basically, when it comes off the machine within 2 minutes, you can't pull it off. You literally physically can't pull it off. It'll snap before it'll come away from the board.
So you recommend that,
but it's expensive to do it that way. That's why a lot of the companies don't. So that any adjoining edges in the board, they usually are open-ended. So practically open-ended, and that's why a lot of the cheap cabinets fail.
So for skinning my steel stand, do you think that stuff would be good to use?
Yeah, you could. There's a couple of companies in Canada that I was looking at that would be able to do that for you, and they'll bond it correctly all the way around. A couple of door manufacturers that you guys got over there. So yeah, you can definitely do it on yours.
I'm still trying to debate what to do to skin the outside of it with.
Yeah, I was going to have a look at it, but I didn't get time. Do you want it all just like one color, or do you want to mix colors, or what do you want to do? Then?
I don't know. My backup plan was just going to do it in white this time, but I don't know. I'm just still looking.
Why don't you do white with frosted corian or something like that as a detail?
If you can think of something that looks cool and good.
I can give you the idea that I was going to have him do for me that I abandoned because I had something better.
What was it?
Either do circuit, like PCB etching.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Or that's what I was going to do, and have him drill it out so when my fuse light comes on or whatever light on the inside comes on, it has that cutout. Or do Tron and get the exact same color, do RGB, and you can program them yourself.
To do different colors and stuff.
I would do, if you want to do like a Tron themed one, I was going to go Tron first. But like I said, mine's going to be way cooler than that. Or the PCB and then do like a deep green, like your backdrop. Either that or like a gold or a bright red, like what Beagle Bone uses. So
I just posted in
like
the Hangout chat what
Spirograph style.
Annika was on about doing before.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, it's
I mean,
I've got
those are the ideas I had, and then we decided to go with a completely different thing. So
yeah, I don't know what. I just want something that looks nice and classy. I have no idea what though.
Classy or like Alienware gamer, like I mean,
I'm trying to find a blend of the two, like something like sleek, modern looking.
Yeah, what I'm doing is something that's going to be so unique that it's going to be a signature. So anytime anybody sees my cabinet or my tank cabinet on a website or a forum, it's its own signature. So I don't even need a watermark it. They know whose it is.
Know whose tank it is.
Yeah, I'm not writing anything on it, but it's going to be so different that it's in itself. Yeah, the BioWare.
What are you doing to it?
Shut up, Nick.
What are you doing to it, Annika?
Shut up, Nick.
Tell me more.
That sounds impressive. Tell me more.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Shut up, Nick.
You're going to do something so unique that it's going to be its own signature?
Nick is going to do something.
Who's doing that for you?
Nick.
I'm not going to do that at all.
Shut up, Nick.
You're getting regular doors. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're mean.
Matte black doors.
I mean, the coolest stand I ever did. One time, I took a regular door and I routed out the inside of it, put a piece of glass and frosted it, and then put some lighting underneath it, and it looked nice. I had dolphins and starfish and stuff.
That's exactly what. That's the idea. Is have like a 90% opaque cabinet door made out of like the Corian or something, or some kind of acrylic that's frosted, and then he routes this design in the back, and then when the light comes on, it acts as a two-tone. And I just threw a titanium pick and almost took out my eyeball.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You might want to wear safety glasses if you're going to keep screwing around with that thing.
What?
Yeah. Oh, my vision.
I've got another eye.
Yeah, I got two. It's all good, man. Get over it.
I got one good one.
Later on, Tina.
I'm also looking at of a way to like make sure that I can show off my sump area, because my sump in itself is a really cool looking sump. It's a work of art by itself because it has like nice trim.
A fuse or whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fuse per se, but it just has nice trim. The sump itself looks really nice.
It's the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I like that
it
idea.
also has a logo in it too.
My current is an all-in-one. My next one's going to be an all-in-one. But when I finally have a sump, I'm going to do like very beautiful. I'm going to have, it's going to almost look like a planted tank. I'm going to do the like really pretty, I'm going to have like Callirpa and Shado and no mangroves because I'm salt, but
Yeah.
What was you trying to do, Tristan, with your sump?
No, I was trying to show a picture of my sump. Let me see if I can. Hangouts is really weird about what it lets you share in terms
Yeah,
of.
it is sometimes.
It keeps thinking that how my
Tristan, this
my
is one that I
pictures-
made for a trade show, for a company, for a trade show with the reverse routed plastic. The picture's not brilliant, but you might be able to see the lettering in the door.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I'm back and forth if I would want it to light up or not.
There we
Well,
go.
that's why I'm
give it the
suggesting some
option.
detail.
Yeah, detail, and then when it's not lit up, it's just a plain white door, nobody knows. And then when it is lit up, it's pretty badass too. So.
Oh, that's pretty.
If it's RGB, you can control it, but if you have like a bit bright fuge light and other stuff in there, you're gonna get all kinds of crazy glowing colors.
No, you can use the strip wire.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you have like NeoPixels?
Yeah.
Okay, well then use NeoPixels.
No,
and you could control it if you have like an Arduino or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I've already been thinking of how I'm gonna do. Yeah, and then you can just 3D print a case for the Arduino, and then I've got things like this, like NeoPixels. They're encased in plastic, like a plastic tubing, and then you just solder that to your leads.
Mm-hmm.
You solder. This is RGB,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're individually addressable, so I can do
funky stuff.
And you can get these. I mean, I didn't pay for them; they were given to me by a company because I did a thing with them. I think Arrow.com. But they're manufactured by Adafruit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a couple of the circle rings I've used for projects.
Yeah. So the little like the
I made a
lily pad, or you mean like the LEDs?
Just the whatever they're called, NeoPixel rings. I made a cool parking sensor. It's an ultrasonic sensor.
Yeah.
The closer you get, it starts to fill the circle, and then when you're too close, it starts flashing at you.
One of my viral videos was I did a stoplight at the end of a guy's garage, and it was a proximity sensor. And as he got closer, it turned red. And I did it. I was up at Apex in Los Angeles, and they had stoplights there, and I was like, "Where?" He's like, "We just got a case of these in." Like, I mean, it's essentially it was a real stoplight. But they weren't like illegal. A lot of times the stuff says you're not allowed to own it. It's like city property.
Yeah.
So they had been manufactured and they were selling them for almost nothing. And I bought a bunch of other stuff. So I just asked the guy, I was like, "Can I have one?" And he's like, "Nobody's ever asked me that before." Sure.
That's funny.
Because I didn't want to pay for it. So, because they were really expensive. But I mounted it at the end of the garage. And
that's cool.
Hey, Michael Aaron's in here. How you doing, Michael?
I just put a link in the Hangouts or whatever. That's just my little testing video when I made that one a while back.
There you go.
Not too bad, thank you, mate.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
What's happening, Mr. Michael?
Not much. Still working.
Yep, working at the grind.
Yep. Just listening in.
Nick, that stand looks impossible for that tank to be on top.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
cool.
it's cool as hell, but it looks
awesome.
impossible. Like, it looks impossible. Like, I'll be
It's
scared.
because you're seeing the skeleton. That's the only difference. Is, I mean, normally you'd put the walls all the way up.
What I always say is dare to be different.
Yeah.
But not too different.
You know what I talk about, like when I say reefing with fear.
Yep.
And that's the same with stands and aquarium cabinets and stuff people build with fear.
Oh, for sure. People overdo their stands. My stand's overdone. But my stand's overdone for a reason, so that I have that wide open front. So I get where he was going with it. So yeah, I like my stand. I am quite fond of it, thank you.
Das ist gut.
Das gut, ja.
Das ist
gut.
Das ist very good.
So this is my sump that I was showing you guys before, and I was telling you somewhere in this thing, my logo or whatever is going to be engraved. So that's why I wanted it to look pretty underneath the stand too, so that when I light up underneath it, you can see the sump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And its prettiness.
What do you do? Have you already got the sump, Tristan?
It's already ordered. It's should be shipping here like next week.
How about illuminated baffles?
Illuminated baffles? That would be pretty cool.
Here you
But
go.
you'd have to use
I'll
like
show you one.
illuminated baffles. Kicking
That's
it up
kinda
a
cool.
notch.
That's an interesting idea.
Using that like almost neon colored plexi.
Illuminated
Keep-
Baffles. Isn't that a Canadian rock group?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Limelight,
picture
they're
I
a Rush
posted?
cover band. Yeah.
Oh, that is slick as hell. I don't know how you did it, what black wizardry you used, but it looks awesome sauce.
Can you put it into the actual Hangouts chat?
Yeah, it's in there. It should be in there.
No, it's going to make me go this way. Let me see if I can get a hold of it.
Can you share it on screen so everyone can see?
I'm working on it right now to see if I can get a hold of it here because I rarely to never see those.
A good friend of mine did that one.
There it is.
It's the first time I've ever seen it, and I'm blown away. Now I have regrets.
Regrets, you say?
Hey, Nick.
No regrets.
Want to link that into the actual chat on YouTube, or can you?
No, I've only got the images.
Somebody want to grab it and see if they can pull it to the Hangout?
Okay.
Here's the thing. It shows up on my phone, but it doesn't show
put it
up
on your
in
screen.
the Hangout chat.
Yeah, or put it on your screen, Nick. One of the two.
No, you just anybody just go to Hangouts and just share.
Oh yeah, or do that. Yeah.
I can't because I'm on my pad.
Hold on, I got it.
You got it?
Give me one second here.
That's an interesting aquascape in that Superman tank.
That's cool, right?
Oh, it's that one. Yes, I think I've seen that already.
No, this one here has a sump that's that baffles have like a blue outline on them.
Craig, I sent it to your Hangout.
There you go. It's up on screen.
There it is. Hold on. Yep, I'll pull you up. There we go. Everyone can see it. Yeah, I just got it. Thank you. Yes.
So you're gonna be dead to be different.
That's the Superman one, and I will show off this one. There we go. All right, folks, it's coming. It's coming. There's a Superman tank.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Oh, I took pictures of that tank we were talking about a while back at my LFS. His 400, that's all Tonga shelf and branches stacked up, and his new 1200.
Oh.
Why are you being a bugger? Come on now. There it is.
Yeah.
Finally got it to show. There. I'll get it up here in a sec, folks. This is the sump we've been talking about. And I'll let my screen share away there.
Is the LED inside the tank?
No,
I
it's
think
underneath.
it's a false bottom. Yeah, it's a false bottom, right?
Yeah, it's
And
underneath.
the LEDs are running underneath it. That's sick.
Oh, so it just illuminates the edges like a fiber optic.
Like a fiber optic.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now that's worthy of showing off. It really is. That's slick. You did that, Nick? Correct?
No, that's a friend of mine. A
Friend
guy
of yours
called,
did it?
Stuart Rawcastle.
Hey Nick, would it have the same effect if I were to like use like a shallow black trim around the base of my sump, have the LEDs facing inwards towards the sump walls that are clear? Would it work the same? Well, I don't think it would. It wouldn't show up on the edges. It would kind of light up the entire panel instead, right?
Yeah, he'll just do the panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do the panel, man.
I'd have to get it underneath or on top of it somehow.
A way that you can make it really stand out. Have you ever seen the Ice Age tank? I'm guessing you haven't.
No.
No, probably not.
All right, let me send you a picture of that. I contacted this guy. He's American. He's from Utah. I contacted him and asked him if he'd be kind enough to let me emulate that in the UK because I really loved it.
I've seen a guy before light the inside of his sump area along the base, pointed inwards, and it would kind of reflect off of the sump itself. And he had used like the UV green type stuff, so it kind of looked like it was lit up, but not really. Not with the edges lit like that. Not for the baffles edge lit like that. That's a sharper look.
This one was
the whole thing.
It's nice, right? What you
Yeah.
can do is, the baffles themselves, you can frost the baffles, so sandblast the edges, and it'll show up even brighter, and more uniform than just a glass edge, like an open glass edge. So there's a tank called the Ice Age aquarium that a guy in, I can't remember the company in Utah did, which I saw on Reef Builders. So I rang him and said, could I make one in the UK? And he let me do that.
Nice.
Let me find it for you.
This is the story of my life at the moment.
Oh, geez, look at that. Sorry to see that, buddy. Check out the traffic that Michael has to put up with right now.
It's always the same. Literally, it's like...
Really? Yikes. You're going nowhere fast, buddy.
Honestly, it's just...
Thank God for live streams. I'll go insane.
Yeah. That is just unreal. Nobody likes that.
Completely unrelated question. Does anyone have a smart sprinkler controller?
Smart sprinkler? Nope. I don't need one.
I see the Ice Age tank on the Googles from Reef Builders. That looks cool.
That's nice, right? So he sandblasted the edges of the glass
That's
to
cool.
get it a little bit sharper. So you could do that with your baffles if you wanted to. And I'll give it a more distinct light to it.
You gotta find a way to build your stuff and like boat ship it over to the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm working on it.
Honestly, that's what SCA does, man. They ship tanks out of China like once a month. So depending on when you ordered your tank, it could be a month and a half, 2 months before you get it, because they gotta come on a boat.
The thing is, Tristan, I've offered to collaborate with companies over there so I can help them and work with them to build the stuff. And
Even here in Houston.
they're not interested.
Yeah.
They're not bothered.
Well, didn't you say the company out here contacted you and then got you all excited
ADG.
and then later was like, oh, yeah, about that?
Yeah, Crane Design Group, which is a very high-end freshwater predominant
They're
shop,
nice.
contacted me, but
They're definitely your caliber.
So yeah, it just seems really hard for some reason to get somebody to do something.
Craig?
Well, yes, Michael.
Can I do a quick bit of self-promotion?
Oh my God, absolutely.
No.
Yes, you go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. Saturday, we're opening up Reef Banter. So, like I said a while ago, that I'm working on a few new things.
Yep.
Reef Banter opens up on Saturday. It's basically going to be live stream central, in essence. That's between me, Paul, Oral, and Woody. We're just going to be streaming more or less 24/7. Obviously, other people will be streaming like yourself, Craig, and it's not a way of taking people away from other people's streams, because everybody's entitled to stream as whenever they want to and stuff. But it's just going to be there because not everybody can stream all the time. But it'll be there where you guys will be able to sort of like get together in one spot and know that more or less all the time there'll be something available stream-wise, because we all know what we're like at the moment. We're stream junkies. So just to have that fix available, it's there. But obviously, like yourself, Craig, and stuff like that, we won't be trying to impact yourself or anything. It's just going to be a spot for people to hang out. Most times we'll fire up a stream and whatever else, and then just leave you all to it. But then other times we will be doing sort of like specific topics and doing specific talks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just creating that, and then obviously
Saturdays, you say, Michael?
Saturday it goes live, but it'll be every day from then. It'll be like more or less 24/7 every day.
I won't book out Sunday afternoons.
Well, I do Sunday afternoons anyway, but you're free. Everybody's free to stream whenever they want, don't they?
I want to do Rage stream.
What's Rage stream?
Rage stream where you go on, you can rage.
Just
rage. Yeah, exactly.
I hate refills.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
suck.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
You do what you do. But yeah, and then obviously Sunday as well. My new live stream starts on Sunday on my channel and Aaron's Corner channel. Obviously replacing the Friday night live stream, so that starts at 7 p.m. my time on Sunday. Thank you, Craig.
You're
well,
welcome.
I'm definitely gonna try to make that, but I have to step away for a bit. Got to take my 5-year-old to school. Well, not school, to his new school, so he can meet some teachers. 'Cause he's gonna be starting school soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a whole new set of phone calls I'm getting from school.
Big day, big time.
Mr. Alcock, why is your son peeing on trees? Why is he telling the other boys to pee on trees? Because that's what my eldest did. He peed on a tree first day of school. Got all the other boys to pee on trees. Man, it's my fault. I took him camping right before school started over the summer, and you're camping. Nobody wants to walk like half a mile to the nearest toilet, so we all chose a pea tree. Well,
There
he
you
took
go.
that right on that survival instinct. He took it to the playground.
There you go.
And that was okay, but the next day was just as bad though. He got naked in school down to his drawers. He said it was hot and they wouldn't turn on the air, so he's like, "I'm gonna be comfortable. You want me to take a nap in this hot ass school?
Yeah,
So
jump up. There you go.
I'm gonna get naked and comfortable." So,
Look at the teachers. It's naked time. Yeah, off he goes. Yeah.
yep. But I will catch you guys on the flip side. Hopefully, I'll be back later on if you guys are still around. But if not, I'll see you guys next time.
Take it easy,
Sounds
Tristan.
good, Tristan. Take care,
I
buddy.
gotta jump.
Here you go. This is their
Get my
1200.
stuff together.
Oh, there's that 1200.
Wow, that's nice.
Oh, there we go.
Wow. Lots of plate and tongue wrench there.
Yep. And so this is when you look at it from the end. So it's got the big open sand bed in the front and on the front side. Or on the end and the front side. And the back is a lot smaller.
Nice.
And this is his 400 display. Like I was talking about, he's got the Tonga shelf pieces on the bottom, but then he used the branch all stacked up and woven together kind of with a piece of shelf here or there. And you see he's got a big half clam shell in there. And
very nice.
And so I got some close-ups of it. You can see how he kind of stacked all the branch together. Used the big clam shell to wedge in there.
Very cool. No, so we're actually getting to a point in my stream. Sorry for that, folks. Oh, getting dry, talking my guts out here today. But I have been called away for a meeting that I have. So I'm actually going to kill the stream for now and go get that done and then take it from there. May or may not be back. Oh, who won what? Did you win something? But
oh,
yeah,
you talking about my game?
Yeah, your game. I saw your game screen there. So I'm going to give it a rest for a little while, let my voice recover for the night, and I will be talking with you guys either later on tonight or I will see you all tomorrow.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
If Paul's not going to jump on, then I'll go ahead and throw one up in a couple minutes.
Sounds good, man. And if I get back on, I'll jump on yours.
All right.
All right. Later on, folks. Thank you for coming. Once again, thanks to everybody who came in. Huge shout out and props to everybody. Always appreciate you guys being here.